headed to New Orleans to make history.
Let's roll, baby.
Headed back to the Super Bowl. Welcome in on a Victory Monday in Kansas City. It's Cody and Gold. Alex Gold, Cody Tapp, Drew Nixon with you. How can you not be smiling today? How can you not be feeling good? Look, everybody's tired today. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. You're tired. You were up late last night. You were watching the game. Maybe your voice is a little hoarse today if you were out at Arrowhead making some noise. But it doesn't matter today. It doesn't matter this week. Adrenaline full force moving forward as the Chiefs are back in the Super Bowl for the 5th time in the last 6 years. And I don't know about you. Like, this one's even sweeter. This one's even sweeter because of all the noise in the last week based off of narratives and officiating and all this kind of stuff. And you heard during the montage there, all the national people saying this was the time where Buffalo was going to get it done.
They're due, Alex. I don't know how many times you had to tell people this week that that's not a thing. Someone's just not due. They're going to actually have to beat Patrick Mahomes at Arrowhead in an AFC championship game, or it's going to be the same ass team going to the Super Bowl again. I had to tell people that a lot. And here we are again. The Chiefs, this show in particular, started in January of 2019. Since this show, 2020. Since this show has started, the Chiefs have been in the Super Bowl 5 of the 6 years that we have just done this show in general. It's pretty ludicrous, obviously, at this point. Just the one, AFC title game. So just back in again. We all going to talk about Chiefs in the Super Bowl again. Happy-go-lucky. I mean, it's at the point of absurdity now.
Like, the time that we're living in. You know, this is insane. like we grew up in Kansas City. You guys are listening. A lot of you spent your entire life in Kansas City, and I know there was a point in time you just never could have dreamed that they were going to a Super Bowl. But then you're like, all right, just give me one opportunity, give me one chance to see an AFC title game at Arrowhead. Well, I got 7 of those. So give me 6 of those at Arrowhead. 7 overall.
Let me just see a Super Bowl.
Let me just see this team in a Super Bowl. What is that like? What's the 2 weeks of buildup like? And then to get to a point where like, well, what's 2 of those like? What would it be like to win back-to-back? That would be pretty cool. That'd be pretty remarkable. And now we're in the middle of the unthinkable. The Chiefs are closer to a three-peat than any other team in NFL history has ever been. As we all know, no team following a back-to-back campaign has gone the next year and won an AFC or NFC title game to get to the Super Bowl.
Correct.
This team has already made new history. They have a chance to cement themselves forever when it comes to New Orleans, where this thing all began, too. That's what's cool. The parallels, we'll have plenty of time over the next couple of weeks to talk about, but we all know first Super Bowl was in New Orleans, and here they are, going back.
And I understand now at this point, going to the Super Bowl doesn't seem like the accomplishment it once felt like. Because, of course they're in the Super Bowl, but even part of me, like, I have moments, and I'm sure we all do, where you're like, I know fundamentally, right? They can't just win like 10 in a row, right? They can't just win. Because at some point you ask yourself, like, look, back-to-back's really hard. And then you're like, they can't win 3 in a row. And then if they win 2 weeks from now, I'll be like, can they win 4 in a row? Can they win 5? What's the number before it competes? And I think what I've come to accept about this group, the combination of, and I think before we even mention Travis Kelce and Chris Jones and some of the other guys who are obviously very important, just as long as Andy Reid, Brett Veach, and Patrick Mahomes exist in unity together, I am not going to come on this show on the 1st of September before the season starts and tell you and pick anybody else to win the Super Bowl. One year, maybe someone will get them. I'm not saying that it can't be done. We'll talk a ton about Philly over the next 2 weeks and what challenges they present and Saquon being a monster and all these other things. But I do think it's important that we just relish in the good for a second, which is just the fact that they have been to the Super Bowl. 5 of the last 6 years have won the Super Bowl. 2 years in a row with a chance at the three-peat. That in its own right is a sentence I don't know that we can say enough today.
No, I'm laughing kind of as we're just talking about this. It's just absurd, man. And we're going to hear from you guys throughout the show on the text line, Jay Southland So Service text line 913-586-7965. We also, in the next segment and throughout the show, we'll open up the phone lines. We'll want to hear from you guys as well. If you were at the game last night, what was your setup? Just where you were at as that game was going on, and now this team making history and getting set for a trip down to New Orleans for another repeat during this run. We all know they play the 49ers twice. They, of course, beat them twice. Now they'll get a chance to beat the Philadelphia Eagles for a second time as well. It's just remarkable. It's incredible, and you can never let this feeling get old or anything like that. It just never can, and we are spoiled here in Kansas City. There's no doubt. What Andy Reid and Patrick Mahomes and Travis Kelce, Chris Jones, et cetera, what they've been able to bring to this entire city, the point that like a lot of this discussion about parades and stuff like is all routine to all of us, like that's nuts. Like, oh yeah,
it's just normal.
The fact that like the T-shirts, like, well, do I wait to buy a championship T-shirt or do I buy the Super Bowl? The fact that we can have that conversation because you already have, multiple AFC title game shirts is ridiculous. And I know, Cody, you were going to ask me. I did not go last night to pick one up.
I thought you'd be at Rally House.
I would have.
First thing.
I would have. That's my plan after the show or whatever. Got home late. I was at the stadium. Got home late. It doesn't matter. But I will eventually get one as well. Like all of that is just something that we of course appreciate. We appreciate being part of it, and everybody can cherish these moments. And knowing that in the biggest moments for 17 games now, and this was the biggest, an AFC title game. Go back to last year, they obviously did in the Super Bowl, but the biggest this year, in a one-score game, yet again, they found ways to make the plays that their opponents simply don't make. It starts with the quarterback, no doubt. But it goes from coaching decisions. It goes with defensive calls. Steve Spagnuolo will give him plenty of love here in about 20 minutes or so.
Defensive plays. George Karlaftis made a great play in the fourth quarter. The blitz from Trip McDuffie in the final. All of it, right? And you're right. It all kind of just factors into all of this. But, I mean, it's an old hat at this point, right?
It is, but the fact that the noise and I do want to make it, as you said, about like the celebration today. But I'll be honest, like you can call it being arrogant or whatever. Like a giant middle finger to most of NFL fans and media, that makes this even better. I'll be like, this is great. I have a smirk on my face the whole time because I know how disgusted people outside of Kansas City are, and that you know what? I take great joy in that right now, Cody.
You should.
I take great joy in that because it got to an absurd level, true hate, hoping for the demise of this fan base and this football team, and they gave a couple middle fingers to everybody else, and it doesn't matter. All the noise that was out there truly does not matter, and I'll say I think the noise in some regard actually helped this football team this week as they got set to beat the Buffalo Bills. It got to a point they needed something maybe to motivate them more than just the obvious, which was getting to a Super Bowl, which should be enough. But they gave them right there on a silver platter. You're only winning because the officials and all this crap. And they went out, and Patrick Mahomes individually had his best game of the season. I mean, the numbers bear that out, Cody. There were only 4 games this year where a quarterback produced a successful play at a higher rate. We all know what he did on the ground, too. 45 yards in the 2 touchdowns, and one of them looked like Josh Allen running, by the way.
That was a great run.
He had the highest drop-back success rate of his entire career.
Because it was the AFC Championship game for a chance to go to the Super Bowl. Look, as the text line said, it just said, die mad, haters. And you're like, yeah, that's kind of the energy today. You can bring all the negative nonsense you want to me. You can talk about 17 rule changes you want to make, like nobody named Patrick can start in the NFL anymore, whatever other nonsense you want to create in order to stop this team from going on the single greatest dynasty run of all time. Create what you want. But because they have Patrick Mahomes, that is it. Look, I'm not saying there aren't other factors. You and I have said Steve Spagnuolo is the single greatest defensive coordinator in NFL history. We know how good Chris Jones is. We know how good all of these people are across the league. We know how great Patrick Mahomes and what you just described. Think about what, and they needed it. They needed every point you just mentioned. They needed all that final field goal. Had they needed had they needed a touchdown instead of a field goal there, I think he scores it. If Josh Allen goes down to score the game-time field goal. He didn't. But he goes down to score the game-time field goal, and they need another score. They'll get it. Here's Patrick Mahomes' stats. Patrick Mahomes now in the playoffs, and he's been in a lot of them, as you know. He is the second winningest quarterback in NFL history in the postseason with 17 wins. Only second to Tom Brady, who has a lot more. He has double that number. But it's like, he'll give him time. He just played 7 years. Patrick Mahomes is now trailed in the fourth quarter by 1 to 8 points. It doesn't really matter. So this is like negating the $1 Super Bowl. He is trailed by 1 to 8 points in the fourth quarter overtime in the NFL playoffs a bunch of times. He is now 40 of 56 for 552 passing yards, 5 touchdowns, no interceptions, a 132.2 passer rating, and the Chiefs have scored on 13 of 14 of those drives. So if it is the fourth quarter, and that's per Josh Dubow over the Associated Press, if the Chiefs are down a score in the fourth quarter in the playoffs, Patrick Mahomes is Superman. And there's nothing you can do about it. And he was again last night. That's what matters.
All I heard for 40 hours lead up was Josh Allen's going to be Superman. This time around, he's not going to let it happen. Well, you know what? Both quarterbacks had an opportunity with time on the clock to go get the points that were necessary to win the football game. One quarterback made that play or two, and one didn't. Patrick Mahomes made more plays when it mattered most. And you just went through some absurd numbers over Patrick Mahomes' playoff career in those circumstances. And that's the difference. Like, everybody always asks, how are they able to do this? You know, people will call it voodoo magic or whatever. How are they doing this? Those numbers right there are exactly how. It's more than just Mahomes, but those numbers right there are how. That whenever they have to have something, doesn't matter how he's played. In this case, he played great all game, except for the one blunder on the fumble. You know,
and the one sack he took, I guess, I thought was maybe a bad sack. So,
but in other games, during the 17 one-possession wins that they've had, there were plenty of games where he didn't play great, but he just had the one drive. This game, I thought he was sensational.
It was his best game of the year.
The numbers bear it out. Here's what Travis Kelce even said. He talks about just winning, but also said he thought Mahomes had his best game of the entire season.
Man, I'll tell you what, man, there's nothing better than playing in front of Arrowhead for an AFC championship, man. They had that thing rocking, and more than ever, and we need them more than ever, man. The Buffalo team was as good as we've ever played, and a lot of great competitors over there. Got a lot of respect for those guys, man. They made it hard.
Came right down to the wire, and you guys, the crowd was electric. How does this compare to the other championship game wins you've had here, considering Buffalo was so good and it was such a close game?
Yeah, man, I'm very thankful that I'm here in Kansas City, playing with the guys and everybody in this building, man. It's a special, special place, and we feel that every single day, and we just try to take advantage of it and not let it slip out of our hands.
Travis, it was almost a year ago that you guys called your shot, saying you wanted the three-peat. What does it mean to now actually get the shot?
You know, it's a new feeling right now, but I'm just excited, man. I'm very happy for the guys that are doing this for the first time, trying to make it everything for them. But I know there's bigger fish to fry, and that's the Philadelphia Eagles down here in New Orleans.
Did you feel like your presence opened things up for Hollywood, Xavier, Juju?
Listen, we were out there. Everybody was doing their job today, and that's why we put up so many points. That's why we scored the touchdowns today. 1-5 was playing the best that he's played all year, and that's what you want to see going into your last games or going into the end of the year. Is everybody playing their best ball?
So that was some of what Travis Kelce had to say after the win last night to get him the Super Bowl, and those comments were before the numbers even were out there to show that he had his best game. Travis and 15 had his best game of the season, and
he didn't see the advanced analytics. He could just feel it. And Travis wasn't even a part, like, offensively as far as catches go. I would point out, if you watch that entire game, if you were just like watching Travis Kelce play, he was the lead blocker on that great touchdown run. You said that he looked like Josh Allen. He was out there doing dirty work in that game. Travis, didn't complain. Just do your job, go about your business, and help this team win again. It's so easy because, like, I don't care about anybody of, like, I know. And we can talk about, like, defensively. I know. There's going to be people nationally be like, they got to microchip the ball. And they're going to say things like, Josh Allen had the first, and this is crazy. And they can't keep getting away like this. And they're going to feel like Aaron Paul in that Breaking Bad scene. And they're all going to, but it doesn't matter because you're in Kansas City. So you get to just, like,
embrace the hate,
live in this and embrace it and do the whole thing. But it's him. Like, Andy Reid stepped into this organization and changed fundamentally who they were. They were losers before Andy Reid showed up. They had the single worst season in this franchise's history. They were the butt end of the joke, like Buffalo is the butt end of the joke for decades, where sometimes they'd have a team and they'd put some things together and they'd make a quiet little run or they'd win their division or win 13 games. and then they'd choke in the playoffs because they didn't have the quarterback, or they'd come up short because they didn't have the guy. That is no longer the thing. It is the antithesis. Look, I had mentioned on Twitter last night, I'm not going to do the research, but I'd be stunned to find out if there has been ever in the history of sports, team sports, I'll say, I'm individual maybe, in the history of sports, because then you got Tiger Woods, a better start to anyone's athletic career than the one I'm witnessing now. He has been a starter in the NFL for 7 years. He has played in the Super Bowl 5 of those years. If he wins 2 weeks from now, he will have won the Super Bowl 4 of those 7 years, appeared in the Super Bowl in another, and lost in overtime in the AFC Championship game in 2, all while setting statistical records for anything you can accomplish before the age of 30. It is a remarkable start to anyone's career. They got the biggest killer in sports. He'll get you every time. Last night's game was a perfect example of that.
Yeah, because it was a classic game, great football game, really was. Like, great game, exactly what we thought it could be, because that's how these games typically have gone against Buffalo in the prior 3 playoff matchups that go down on the wire. We all know the 13-second game many years ago, or it seems like many years ago, wasn't that long ago, but years ago. And then yesterday, we see both quarterbacks late in the game. We were all texting like, this seems like there's going to be like another 2 or 3 possessions in this game, and this is not going to be the final score. And that was when it was, before it was tied up at 29 even. You just kind of got that sense that both quarterbacks were going to make plays, but ultimately 1-5 was who made the key plays at the very, very end. And you said it, the start to his career is just ridiculous. It really is at this point. And the three-peat is another opportunity, though, when we talk bigger legacy picture for Patrick Mahomes and what he may or may not accomplish in terms of head-to-head with Tom Brady, and he's got a long ways to go still. But the headway he's making before the age of 30 is something we've never seen before. This is obviously a better start than even what Tom Brady had, especially if he can win a Super Bowl in a couple weeks down in New Orleans and get to 4 before he's 30. And that's...
How many got his 37, by the way?
And you would do it in a three-peat year, which we know nobody in the NFL has ever done. I mean, you go in the NBA, the Lakers did it in the early 2000s in terms of winning 3 straight. There's very few teams in sports, very few athletes, of course, and stars that have been able to do what they're on the verge of doing. And I think it was last night when I was driving home and Mitch was just signing off. Mitch Holthus, of course, here on 96.5 The Fan. I was in the parking lot, and I just turned the car on and the radio, and he had mentioned that the Buffalo Bills, on their end, Cody, they have more. They have the most wins for a team during like this stretch to not make a Super Bowl in NFL history, and it's because of one guy, and it's because Patrick Mahomes exists. Think about that. That's why Bills fans are sick today. That they've racked up, I think it's 80-something wins or whatever during this time frame, and yet they've not been to a Super Bowl. No team has won as many as they have and still not been to a Super Bowl. And that's because you run into Patrick Mahomes and the numbers that we've referenced in clutch moments, and they got the best head coach in football. I'm sorry, Andy Reid is going to end up surpassing Bill Belichick when this thing is done. Andy Reid's not retiring anytime soon. He will surpass Bill Belichick.
The Eagles made a huge mistake letting Andy go. They should have just figured out a quarterback. Then they could have just kept winning at this rate. And look, it stands out yesterday, and this is not, I'll say, like, absent wanting him to lose yesterday. I actually kind of like Josh Allen.
Likable guy.
He's very likable. It's not like, we've talked about this before. I like him as a person. You see those photos of him sat on the sideline, like, damn, I kind of feel bad for Josh. But Super Bowl time, woo-hoo! So you can only feel bad so long, So, sorry. Josh Allen, it's not that he had no moments in the game last night. That drive before halftime, that pass to Matt Collins,
dang, perfection.
That was that's just a perfect drive, a perfect pass. Then they were down 29-22, and they went down and scored a touchdown and tied that thing up in the fourth quarter. So it's not that he never showed up, but Josh Allen had his chance. It was the fourth quarter with 3 minutes to go. He had 3 timeouts, a lifetime in front of him. He had every possible chance to have his Patrick Mahomes
slay
moment.
the dragon.
And I'll just be honest, he choked. He missed. Now, look, the final play, Spags got his ass. Okay, we can talk about that one in a minute because kudos to Spags again.
That was a Spags special.
But the final play, fine, Spags got you. But he had his moment. And I think Patrick Mahomes would, like, in my mind, if the roles were reversed and the Chiefs are down 3 and Mahomes has that ball in the same situation, I am 99.999% convinced Patrick Mahomes scores on that drive. Josh Allen made it 17 yards on 6 plays and went out on 4th and 5 to lose the game. Hell, the Chiefs couldn't even kneel it out. They on 2 different third downs needed a big play from Patrick Mahomes, and Andy Reid dialed up genius little running back flip outs.
I mean, think about Samaje Perine. Samaje Perine, the biggest play of the season.
I know.
The biggest play of the season, to ice the game, Samaje Perine's the guy that got the catch. I mean, props to him, but like they've done that before. Jerick McKinnon did that a few times in his career, where you're like one of the last people you would think that would touch the football in that spot, and yet it doesn't matter. And that also, I think, just goes back to the bigger picture of why they've been so successful. Is like the top to bottom, the trust the team, kind of the cliche stuff, but they do it so it doesn't seem as cliche. Which is it doesn't have to be Travis Kelce. It doesn't have to be Xavier Worthy. It was Samaje Perine on the biggest play of the game to end the game effectively.
I mean, Juju Smith-Schuster had 2 huge catches for this team. It doesn't, and that's the whole point. It's like Josh Allen. I understand he's limited, right? Because Matt Collins and Keon Coleman and Khalil Shakir. Dalton Kincaid. I'm not trying to claim it's murderer's row.
Yeah, but Mahomes elevates, man. Mahomes.
He does.
Think about last year.
He does.
This year's receiver room has been better. It's much deeper. But last year, going to the postseason, it was Marquez Valdez-Scantling who hadn't done anything. To his credit, he did in the playoffs. But Mahomes elevates a group of MVS, Sky Moore, and Kadarius Toney, who came up. All 3 of those names came up with the biggest plays in the postseason. From a walk-off touchdown was McCole Hardman for overtime against the 49ers. So he elevated guys. With all due respect to the names I mentioned, those aren't exactly top-tier wide receivers. And
they have Super Bowl rings, and
they do.
Kadarius Toney has 2 of them.
He does. McCole Hardman obviously has got a moment he'll never forget. They stepped up to those spots.
He could get 4 if they win.
He was in the locker room last night. Obviously, he was inactive. He's on IR and everything, but he was still celebrating.
He'll have 4 Super Bowl rings. McCole Hardman will have 4 Super Bowl rings.
Great.
If they win in 2 weeks.
Yeah, it's just So I don't want to hear the personnel excuses or anything like that on Josh Allen's side. They had plenty to get it done if you're going to be one of those quarterbacks. And this hasn't changed. Like, Josh Allen is still one of the best quarterbacks in the league. You problem is you are running into the best maybe to ever do it. Yeah. And I think right now I'm saying maybe because he's got some work to do, but I don't think I'm going to be saying maybe.
It's best I've ever seen, man. But
I'm not going to be saying maybe for that much longer. I really don't believe it, especially if he gets his 4th in a couple weeks down in New Orleans.
Before he turns 30? His 4th before he turns 30. And this isn't even meant to be a knock. Everybody knows how great Tom Brady is. And Tom Brady won a bunch late, which is, in a lot of ways, just as impressive as winning them early, because winning them after the age of 37 is kind of nuts when quarterbacks traditionally have been bad into their 40s or couldn't even make it into there. Tom Brady did not win his 4th until he was 37 years old. So, if you're curious, if Mahomes can, how can he catch to the 7? Well, get 4 before you're 30 is probably a good thing. Have the 3-peat. Have all the stuff that doesn't exist. These are things that we'll bring up again, obviously a lot, over the next couple of weeks. But I thought Josh Allen had his chance. He had his chance to slay the dragon, and he came up short.
Up next, we're just getting started on a Victory Monday. The Chiefs are headed back to another Super Bowl. Their 3rd straight, going for a 3-peat. Up next, we'll talk about Steve Spagnuolo, who certainly has been a huge piece of this run, and you said it a second ago. He dialed up something special on a 4th and 5. We'll hear from Drew Tranquil on that. We'll also take some of your calls and texts. 913-586-7965 right here on 96.5 The Fan.
This is Cody and Gold on your new home for K-State Athletics. 96.5 The Fan. Brought to you by Heartland Men's Health, the leader in men's sexual health. Thousands of men have been successfully treated for low T, ED, and more, all with discretion and compassion. Make your appointment at heartlandmenshealth.com.
When this football run began a couple years back, we were up in St. Joe for training camp. And what were we driving? Well, we were driving a brand new red truck, thanks to my friends over at Max Motors. And if you're still driving that same vehicle now that they're looking for a 3-peat, perhaps it's time for you to drive a new vehicle as well. And I'll tell you what, Max Motors has the best financing options available with the max trade-in values in the Midwest. And right now, if you're looking for a new truck, new 2024 Ram 2500s are up to $16,000 off MSRP. Stock number C240005. Or new 2024 Jeep Compass 4x4 starting at $24,995. Stock number 80238. And as always, Max Motors are going to take the time to sit you down and explain the total cost of ownership, not just what your monthly payment will be. That's the kind of attention and care that they're going to give you when you walk into a Max Motors dealer. See dealer for details. And don't forget, Max Motors is your Midwest dealer.
Max Motors, the easiest place to buy a car, maxmotors.com.
Men, the new year is here, and if you're like many of us, you're going to make a resolution to improve your health. But if you're feeling sluggish and low energy, if your sleep patterns are off, if you've been working out and aren't seeing the gains you used to see, making that resolution may not be so easy. This is Jeff for Heartland Men's Health, and if you're feeling the way I just described, we can likely help you with that resolution, because those symptoms probably mean you're suffering with low testosterone. And at Heartland Men's Health, we're experts in treating this condition. With our low T protocols, if you're like most men, the change will astound you. You'll feel more energy and better mental clarity, your sleep will improve, your workouts will be better, and you'll likely find your sex drive goes up as well. So call us today and get treated for your low T. Your initial visit is only $99 and includes blood work and a medical consult. And if you start on testosterone the day of your appointment, your visit is free. Call 844-447-6600. That's 844-447-6600, or go to heartlandmenshealth.com. Heartland Men's Health, a Promenic restorative health practice.
Missouri sports fans, I've got good news. Underdog is available to play in your state. It's the best place to cash in all your takes during the playoffs, which players are going to go off and which ones are ice cold. With over 5 million happy players and $2 billion won, Underdog makes it fun and easy to cash in on all of your favorite athletes. Whether you think they're going higher or lower, you can make those fire entries for a shot at real cash prizes all playoffs long. Underdog is the only champs platform that puts the power of cash in your hands. Now you can either keep it riding with your entry or tap the Win Now button to cash out whenever you want. Underdog is the place to play. Sign up now and deposit with promo code TAP, T-A-P-P, to get up to $1,000 in bonus cash instantly. And if you're in Missouri, you'll get an additional $50 in bonus cash when you play your first $5 entry. That's promo code TAP, T-A-P-P. Must be 18 plus and present in this state where Underdog Fantasy operates. Terms apply. $10 deposit minimum. See UnderdogFantasy.com for terms and conditions. Concerned with your play, call 1-800-GAMBLER. Visit www.ncpgambling.com.
My son loves to fly kites, but my active psoriatic arthritis can sometimes hold me back. Now with Skyrizi to treat my skin and joints, I'm ready to go. Skyrizi, risankizumab Riza, a prescription-only 150 milligram injection for adults, helps with less joint pain, stiffness, swelling, and fatigue. For those who also have plaque psoriasis, 90% clearer skin is possible with just 4 doses a year after 2 starter doses.
Don't use if allergic to Skyrizi. Serious allergic reactions and an increased risk of infections or a lower ability to fight them may occur. Before treatment, your doctor should check for infection and tuberculosis. Tell your doctor if you have an infection or symptoms such as fever, sweats, chills, muscle aches, or cough, or if you plan to or recently received a vaccine.
With Skyrizi, there's nothing like clearer skin and better movement, and that means everything. Ask your doctor about Skyrizi today and visit skyrizi.com or call 1-866-SKY-RIZZI to learn more.
As a mom, comforting my family is what I do best. Vicks Vapor Stick provides soothing, non-medicated Vicks vapors in an easy-to-apply stick, and it dries fast, so there's no mess. I use it to comfort myself and my family.
Thanks, Mom.
Vicks Vapo Stick, soothing comfort for the whole family. And when you need more comfort for yourself, try Vicks Vapo Shower Max for steamy Vicks vapors.
Use as directed. Vapo Stick for use ages 4 and up. Vapo Shower Max use for adults only.
Whether you're ordering wings for the game, whipping up a 7-layer dip, or ordering pizza, there's something about football that makes you want to eat. And this football season, Uber Eats has the best deals on game day food. No matter what you're craving, from 2-for-1 pizza to buy one, get one wings, Uber Eats will be dropping new deals each week, all season long. Uber Eats, official on-demand delivery partner of the NFL. Order now. Terms and conditions apply. See app for details.
Did you know your skin is the largest organ of your body? Huh? That's why you should shower with Old Spice Super Hydration Body Wash instead of plain old bar soap. Love your skin by super hydrating it with vitamin B3 and glorious notes of vanilla and shea. Did you know that my super hydrated skin is the second largest organ of my body? The first is my heart. Old Spice. Men have skin too. Old Spice Super Hydration Body Wash. 24/7 renewing moisture. With daily use.
Are you ready to take your business to the next level? Meet Viant AI, the world's first fully autonomous advertising platform. With Viant AI, you can automate media planning, analyze results, and drive smarter decisions, all while saving you time and resources. Viant AI helps you unlock new potential and boost productivity regardless of your expertise. Visit Viant.ai today and see how the future of artificial intelligence in advertising can work for you.
Okay, so that's with bacon, cheese, lettuce, tomato, grilled onions, ketchup, and hold the pickles.
You know what you like. You wouldn't order your burger just any way. Why should your sports talk be any different? With Chapters on the free Odyssey app, you can choose the topics that matter to you most. Whether it's reactions, matchup previews, injury updates, or team news, quickly find what you really care about. Your football talk, your way. Download the free Odyssey app and start listening today.
Chiefs coverage is brought to you by Twin Peaks. Eats, drinks, scenic views.
Twin Peaks is the best in the game. Here, the Scratch Kitchen delivers lunch in the clutch. I mean, where else can you order a 29-degree draft beer and a quickie combo on your lunch break? Only at Twin Peaks, the #1 sports bar.
You're listening to 96.5 The Fan from the Mission Plumbing, Heating, and Cooling Studios.
Never satisfied, baby. When you play in front of Arrowhead Stadium like this, every single AFC championship, you kidding me? Kansas City! Hey, before you guys get out of here, just do a little dance, make a little love. Yeah, get down tonight.
Travis Kelce on the podium, going to another Super Bowl. We had the questions going into the AFC title game. Was that his last game at Arrowhead? I guess it still could be, but we know that wasn't his last game. He's got a chance to, at minimum, go out with another ring. If not, maybe he comes back for another one. He's got an opportunity to be part of this three-peat.
Why would you want to leave? Pardon me.
Well, I still think the three-peat, if they do that, increases the likelihood. But it just shows you Buffalo. Yeah, you took away Travis Kelce from a statistical standpoint, but you said let everybody else step up. Well, Xavier Worthy stepped up. Hollywood Brown stepped up. Guys stepped up in crucial moments. So, yeah, you had a much better game plan than the Texans did and didn't let Kelce go off. But he also made a huge catch when they had to have it late, right? He made a big catch late in the game to keep the sticks moving.
I'll just point out
field goal range.
He did every little tiny thing right. Quickly, before we talk about Spags. Show bet hit, by the way.
It did.
Thank you to the listeners.
Yes.
Over on Twitch, Kansas Duckdown had sent us $50, as you remember, and said, hey, put it on a parlay, have a little fun on the guys over here. And then somebody on the text line was like, make it 100. And so we had $100 to bet. Drew chose the Chiefs on the money line. You chose the Chiefs team total over 23.5. And I had Xavier Worthy's total over 49.5. The first two, third quarter, half, I think, for Worthy, squared away. And then we were just waiting to make sure the Chiefs won. We're going to put that money towards printing up some new Cody and Gold show shirts, this time with the Chiefs colors instead of the Royals colors.
That's the plan.
So it's not the full amount we need, but it's getting us close. So that's where that money is headed. So eventually you'll get some free shirts out of this as a result of it. But thanks. You know what? Good. Felt like a good
nice hit. Nice
good
job.
Hit.
That was a nice hit. Nice parlay hit. Hope some people made some money in trail. I know we said
he actually said he trailed us, the guy who sent us the $50. So he trailed us.
I know one of our listeners, Austin, tweeted at us last night as well. And he went ahead and trailed our bet too. So hope everybody made a little cash on top of what was just an unbelievable night. Once again, in Kansas City, we talked about the offense in the first half hour of the show. It's time to talk about what Steve Spagnuolo and this defense did once again. In particular, the 4th and 5. The 4th and 5 play, Bills had to have it, and Josh Allen was not expecting Trent McDuffie to come off the corner blitz at all. You could tell.
I didn't expect him to come off the corner blitz.
But that's the beauty of Steve Spagnuolo and why the shirts were made a year ago in Spags We Trust. Because even
I tried to get a $20,000 bronze bust made for him. I still think we should do that for what it's worth.
We don't need to do that today.
I would still like to spend $20,000 getting Spags a bronze bust made, but that's fine.
Don't need to do that today. But he put on. When they had to have it, we talk about masterclass performances. This won't be overall the game that someone will point to as like the best Spags game because they'll say, you gave up 29 points. But in the moment where, once again, you had to have it, you come up with your most exotic blitz of the entire game, and it was Trent McDuffie and Josh Allen. When he turned, by the time he was caught off guard, and he threw up a prayer, and it turned out to be a pretty damn good pass.
Yeah, it was a good prayer.
To Dalton Kincaid, who we all know did not catch that. And it didn't allow him to see that Khalil Shakir was open in the flat. They had him wide open on the left side of the field, the near side, I guess it would have been of the field. and he didn't have time to even look because that's the whole point of blitzing and getting somebody caught off guard.
Don't give him time to think.
Steve Spagnuolo, we said it after last year's Super Bowl win, and now it just continues to build on his legacy and career. He should be the first coordinator in NFL history that makes the Hall of Fame.
I was a little surprised during the game how many negative Chiefs fans were in my mentions on social. I get it, social's a negative place, but talking about this defense stinks, it's no good. And I'm like, hey, look, I don't want to get into this every day. The Buffalo Bills were the second highest scoring offense in the NFL for a reason. They can move the ball. Josh Allen is a problem. They have one of the better offensive lines in the sport. They're difficult to get to. Spags knows when the time counts. You know what's funny is like a play completely under the radar. The play right before Trent McDuffie. They had an excellent play call on that 3rd and 10. Amari Cooper could have ran 40 more yards had George Karlaftis not snuck out of the backfield and got him by a shoelace. Jamari Conner had fallen down. There was no defense behind him. But because of great individual play from George Karlaftis, they didn't get burned on what was it. There were two things that obviously stood out. One was, the blitz was perfect. Perfect. But the thing I would give Spags even more credit for was Spags, I guess, the first coach in the league this year to figure out the tush push. That was the most impactful thing in the entire game. The Bills had to work so damn hard on those 4th downs. It felt like they had 78 of them. I think they had 6 4th down attempts in the game. They were 7 4th down attempts in the game. They were 4 of 7. The last 2 were the ones they missed. The one on 4th and 5 when he sent Trent McDuffie, and the one on the tush push when they came up a half an inch short, or whatever they decided on the spot after review couldn't overturn it. That part of Spags' game, because of the final call, ends up getting lost in the woods. Not completely, but like unbelievable to be like, he's always going left, and we have the personnel, and we figured out how to stop it. And I don't know how they practiced it. I don't know if they made Carson Wentz run that thing 78 times in practice. But they had it. They had it.
Yeah, it was something they clearly game planned for and saw. And to that point, here's what Drew Tranquil had to say. He was asked about getting back to the Super Bowl, but also the short yardage success, and acknowledged, hey, they're going to have that again against the Eagles with a team that really started this whole thing.
You play this game to win Super Bowls. You train all year long for a moment like this, and you go out there and lay it on the line. You could win, you could lose. And so you put days and days and hours of training on the line, and we were able to get it done today.
But even after winning last year, Pat was already talking about three-peat, but you guys were trying not to look too far ahead. Now that it's here, does it feel nice to dream about a three-peat?
Well, you can't talk about a three-peat because you got a game, you got to practice that day that you got to take care of, and if you start thinking too far ahead, you won't execute in the moment. And so it's nice. We've set ourselves up for the opportunity against a great Philadelphia team, and it's going to be another heck of a battle.
Drew, how much did you guys work on quarterback sneak stop this week leading up to knowing Josh was going to likely keep the ball in his hands?
At the end of the day, you got to be a dog. You got to be a dog. You got to execute. You can only do so much. We're not in pads throughout the week, so you can't execute. Rather, you can't simulate what that's going to be like, all the push that they have. But our big guys, man, they bowed up in critical moments.
How much is that? You're going to see it again next week or in 2 weeks too.
Yeah, we'll see it again against a team who it seems like originated that play. And so they've got probably the best back in the league in Saquon going right now. And so it's going to be a good challenge.
That was Drew Tranquil talking about the focus on the short yardage. That was that was the difference in this game. Even on the drive where they got the touchdown, initially Josh Allen was stopped on, I think it was 3rd and goal on that point.
Yeah.
And then eventually they had a very nice play call, the option pitch or whatever it was.
Honest to God, that was still a decent defensive play call. James Cook just made a great play.
Yeah. So they were all over it, and that was just, one of the many differences in this football game. And we'll have a week and a half, 2 weeks to discuss, the Eagles and what they're going to do and on tush push and Saquon and everything like that. But against Josh Allen, a play that resulted in him having, I don't know how many rushing touchdowns this year. It was one of the leaders in football, period, in rushing touchdowns. The Chiefs were able, for the most part, to stop it. And the 4th and 1 call, one of our coworkers over on KMBZ, Grayson's a big Bills fan. And
he's been a Bills fan his whole life.
And so he was obviously
bless his heart. That's
very,
a tough life.
very frustrated, and as he should be. I think we all would be in the same boat. But we were talking about the 4th and 1 call and clearly what the narrative is around that. A lot of people nationally think it was a bad spot. I just don't know when did we forget that almost 99% of the time when there's a short yardage play and there's a scrum of players
and you can't see the ball,
that they 99% of the time stick with the call on the field, which is what they did. I'll admit, if they would have ruled Josh Allen had the first down initially and then it went to replay review, it probably doesn't get overturned for the exact same reason.
Correct.
We can't see the football. And then the whole idea of the guy on the top of the screen, if you're watching on TV,
he's the far
and the bottom,
he's the far referee, he's not the near side.
And then they'll be like, that spot was the correct spot. Yeah, correct if you're a Bills fan. That was what I was arguing with Grayson about over on KMBZ is no, why is that one the correct spot? Only because it would have benefited you. So that goes back to the Chiefs derangement syndrome, CDS, and all this. You want the Chiefs to lose. I get it, he's a Bills fan, but I'm talking in general. You want the Chiefs to lose so badly. We forget the stuff that we watch in every football game. The same thing with the Xavier Worthy catch. The ball hit the ground. The ball can hit the ground. When did we
just can't move?
Since when did we forget the basic things that we've all acknowledged when we watch a football game? The virus that is CDS causes people to lose their damn mind. The 4th and 1 was a really close play, but the original call in the field, I think no matter what it was going to stand.
I agree. And I couldn't tell. I wasn't going to be shocked if they overturned it. I thought it was so close, I couldn't tell whether or not Josh Allen got it. He very well might have, but I can't see the ball.
They didn't
and live,
measure it, did they?
And no, but he was short. And look, I get it. But put a microchip in the ball. It's already in the ball. That's a choice thing. If you want them to employ the rule, I don't care.
That's fine. People have been saying that for years.
Sure, go for it.
It'll be another rule change, I guess, that the Chiefs can get credit for. Fine, if that makes people feel better.
But what you're talking about on the Xavier Worthy thing points out one of the biggest factors of the entire game. McDermott isn't good enough. Andy Reid swims laps around Sean McDermott. I'm not even here to tell you that Sean McDermott is a bad coach. That's not even what I'm saying. He is a perfectly fine coach of which you can do much worse, but he ain't good enough against Andy Reid. I thought he, honest to God, screwed up probably 5 things at least yesterday versus Andy Reid, who I thought called 2 timeouts in the first half to make damn sure they got a first down on the 4th down and to make damn sure they got a touchdown when they needed a touchdown. I thought he had great play calls in the second half offensively. He saved 2 of his best offensive play calls for when they needed him in the 4th quarter. Sean McDermott had no business challenging that Xavier Worthy call. Let's just say, even if it's incomplete, there was a holding call that was going to give him a first down, so now you have even less time to score before half. So Josh Allen doesn't even get his chance to go down and throw the ball to Matt Collins because now more time is gone. I didn't like his calls, which he does, on the 2-point conversions. I didn't think he should have gone for the 2-point conversion early on. Sean McDermott forgot that the only thing they did successfully offensively consistently in the game was run the ball. They ran 16 third quarter snaps, 15 of which were runs to massive success. James Cook had only 13 carries for almost 90 yards and another 30 receiving. And then when they had to go down and score the game to tie it or win, they had 3 minutes and 3 timeouts, and he ran 6 passes and 1 run. He forgot who he was. McDermott failed them.
Teams
Andy
tend to
Reid
do that
because Andy Reid is great.
Teams tend to do that a lot against the Chiefs, and it goes back to the pressure of what Patrick Mahomes on the other side brings. You feel like you have to do something different, even if it's working. We saw the Ravens last year in the AFC title game. They were such a great running football team, and then they lost. They just forgot to run the football in the AFC title game.
They did it again this year against Buffalo.
Yeah, and so this is what the Chiefs do to opponents. It's what they do to they cause people to lose their mind. They really do, and it's unbelievable how it does happen so often. As far as the challenge, you brought that up. Yeah, I thought that was a terrible challenge. Not only was there a penalty, a 20-yard difference. I firmly disagree that it wasn't a catch to begin with, because if you have firm control of the football and it hits the ground, and you're in a tie situation with the defender, we all know the tie goes to the offensive player. Once again, not a new concept, but people somehow forget that because they hate the Chiefs so much that they lose track of what are obvious rules that we've had in the league for quite some time.
I mean, I'm just watching back at all these different plays, and McDermott, he failed them multiple times. And I get the risk. Like, if you're sitting around in your Buffalo and you're saying, we could do so much worse. Yeah, you could. But this is going to come off real hot takey for a Monday in which the Chiefs are in the Super Bowl. The Bills should fire Sean McDermott.
Well, Buffalo Radio this morning thinks that they should have. It's not Josh Allen's fault. They're blaming Sean McDermott. They're blaming that the football needs to be microchipped, and they're blaming their general manager.
So, look, It's somewhat both. Now, in fairness, the general manager, and I thought everybody kind of knew, I thought we knew, that this was supposed to be the step back year. In a lot of ways, if you told me before the season, they exceeded. But, you have to admit something to yourself if you're Sean McDermott, if you're Buffalo, if you're everything else. What we're doing and have been doing is not enough. You have now faced the Chiefs 4 times in the postseason. And all 4 times you have lost to Patrick Mahomes, Andy Reid, and Brett Veach. So if you just want to say it's those 3 versus their 3, Josh Allen, Sean McDermott, and the GM, someone's ass has got to go. And it's never the quarterback. All right, so Josh Allen doesn't going to go. Get a new coach or get a new GM because something isn't enough to get past them. So if you're cool winning 13 games, winning the AFC East, losing in either the divisional round or the AFC Championship game, then go on about your merry. I don't care if you make any changes. If I'm Buffalo, though, I tell you to get rid of McDermott. He helped cost them the game. It's not just that. Josh Allen could make some passes. They could make some blocks. They could, and part of it is so funny because you look back at this game. The Buffalo Bills won the turnover margin. The Chiefs are the only team in the playoffs this year to win the game in which they lost the turnover margin. They had 5 fumbles, all of which they recovered. There were plenty of things that went the Bills' way. They had the ball with 3 minutes to go, trailing by 3. They could go win the game. It wasn't even like Mahomes had, and there's nothing you could do. And they still lost. You got to change something.
I don't even know if it's like a Sean McDermott thing on offense where Joe Brady's the guy who's calling the plays. So, I mean,
true.
Because I think it really can't. It felt like when it got to the fourth quarter, it felt like the game was so nip and tuck. It was going to be Andy Reid against Sean McDermott for the Chiefs offense versus Bills defense, and it was going to be Joe Brady against Spags. And Spags had the better of him taken away in that third quarter, and then Spags showed up in the fourth, and the Bills couldn't do anything when it mattered most, and that obviously is a credit to Spags. It just felt like those coaching battles were what ultimately decided how things kind of went in this one.
And that's where they've had Joe Brady, for 2 years now or a year and a half or whatever, but the Chiefs, the consistency throughout the entire organization. Sean McDermott's been there for a bit now too, but Brett Veach, Steve Spagnuolo, Andy Reid. The core has been the same. The core players, obviously, that we've mentioned over and over again, have been the same. There's something to be said for that stability in your organization. Why in these moments you don't panic, you don't try to be something that you're not. We've seen that play out over this run from other teams. And they will pounce that one. The
second you give them a sliver of hope, and they missed 3 interceptions and 5 fumble recovery attempts. They had 1,000 chances to get the ball, but when they had to make the play, when it was the fourth quarter and the game was tied, and didn't they make it? You screw up, you make a face mask, they score, right?
Yeah, and a lot of people are saying they did turn the ball over, turnover downs. They did. They don't rule it officially as a turnover, but yes, absolutely, those were. I consider those massive turnovers. We all know the 4th and 1.
Well, that's how you win.
It was ultimately what the Chiefs were able to do.
The Bills were flirting with turnovers all night. I mean, they could have turned the ball over at least 3 times in that game.
Honestly, got 8 because fumbles are 50-50, and he threw 3 balls into defenders' hands.
At least.
Look, breaks go your way throughout a game. It seemed for a while like all the breaks were going to go to the Bills. That's what's so funny is the narrative was already set about the officiating. For what all the breaks were going the Bills' way, and then you have 1 4th and 1 review that went the Chiefs' way, and suddenly everybody forgot that one team actually had most of the breaks throughout the game, and it wasn't the team that won the review or had the review stand.
And the Chiefs lost that fumble, which didn't end up mattering because the guy was offsides, and they're like, oh, what? But he was offsides. And look, I'm not going to do the effort. I'm not going to go through and point out every missed call from a ref. There was a missed face mask on Holly. It's not worth it. You guys have to understand that when the game comes down to it, it is these little decisions and these little plays that make the difference. You and I have never said you can't complain about the refs. They're bad at their job sometimes and they miss calls. That's fine. What we're here to tell you is that the refs will not decide who wins or loses the game. Otherwise, at some point, a ref would have decided who lost a game for Patrick Mahomes, and he refuses to lose. He just keeps winning. It doesn't matter if they miss 1 call, 2 calls, 10 million. A fumble goes into Josh Allen's hand every time. It doesn't matter those little breaks over the course of a game because they do make a difference and they can be the difference. But Andy's better than McDermott, and Mahomes is better than Allen. They have the diet version of both the thing the Chiefs are great at, which means you're always, and their GM's worse than Veach. Because, and we can revisit this later in the week. Do I need to point out every single member of the 2021 draft class who have now been in only Super Bowls as NFL professionals? Super Bowl as professionals. And what they've done for this roster and how they've won? it all goes back to the same thing. The Bills are snake bit, not because they're not a great team, but because they're not as good as the Chiefs.
Yeah, they're a very, very good team. They got a great quarterback, but you're still a step below or two the Kansas City Chiefs. Everybody is, frankly, at this point. And to your coaching point more on that, just the first half decision to chase the 2 points, the 2-point conversion. I understand the Chiefs were offsides, and so you said, hey, we can go tush push on a short yardage situation, but they lost 2 points in that game because of chasing points.
Because they chased them again later, and it was too early to chase then too.
So those were coaching blunders. I don't think in the first half you should ever be chasing it. And I understand their confidence, and it goes back to why the Spag short yardage plan was so effective, but they just assumed that would be something that they could get without a problem, and it obviously was not the case at all.
Look, if you get into trouble, do the things you got to do, right? I mean, sometimes, like eventually, right, there was no choice, and Washington, right, in their game, had to just start going for it on every fourth or whatever. Yeah, it's fine. When you're down, you're down. I get it. But, there's a difference in coaching. There's a difference in quarterback. There's a difference in all of these things. That game, by the way, I will say, just side note, and I know I'm saying this because they won. It was a great game, though, right? Drew, you're not a fan of either of these teams. That was a great game.
It was one of those classic games that you felt like, yeah, we're going to remember like little bits and pieces, not just because, people in Kansas City are going to remember it, but it's going to be one of those that's always replayed and is always shown again.
It'll probably be on tonight. It'll probably be on NFL Network tonight, Drew. You'll probably sit back and watch it.
Just going to crack open a drink and watch it again?
I will, because this one will be way less stressful watching it. This one, you already know the results. So, yeah. I mean, last night, I went to bed, I think, around 1 o'clock. I had a DVR set, so I went in. I watched the final 3.5 minutes or so of the game, just real quick, just to refresh.
Josh Allen almost pulled the Bo Nix, where he just threw the thing up in the air and just prayed that it fell into somebody's hands. And Kincaid had a legit shot at it.
Almost caught it.
And really did. It did feel like the whole game, this is different than the Week 11 game, obviously, because it felt like that one was more back and forth. The Bills had some control. The Bills had no control in this game where they were playing keep up the entire way. Chiefs go up 21-10, and the Bills had to come back. Chiefs go up 29-22. Bills had to come back. They could never get a grasp of the game where they could kind of, I don't know if that's where Joe Brady got scared. Cody and was like, we have to pass the ball in order to get this thing done, but they couldn't resort to what they do best because they didn't feel like there was a firm grip on the game and control. They were always
They got the lead, though, in the third quarter. And what's funny is, I was texting with a friend. In the first half, I felt like the Chiefs game felt weird, and I couldn't figure it out, and I realized what it was. I'm not used to them playing from ahead in the playoffs and playing from ahead against the Bills. They had a lead, and I was like, oh, that's why it feels weird. This is what it feels like. Oh, it could have been way more. If it wasn't for the fumble.
They were moving. Yeah. We said going in, we felt like the Chiefs could move the ball. Not necessarily that I thought they were going to have 60-plus yard receptions, but that secondary, that defense, that they were going to have success moving the ball. They ended up having their highest scoring output of the entire season.
This show was very accurate on how this game was going to be played.
And it played out that way, and I think for what you were saying, Drew, in Week 11, the Chiefs' offense just was not moving the ball. They had the 2 interceptions, the 2 turnovers, Mahomes, of course. And even though Mahomes had the fumble, he still has not thrown an interception since that game. And I believe the stat is that Patrick Mahomes will enter the Super Bowl with the longest streak in NFL history without a pick. Now, there's been quarterbacks that have had longer non-interception streaks, but not heading into a Super Bowl. No quarterback has gone from Week 11 all the way to the Super Bowl without throwing an interception. I believe that was the stat last night, which is pretty crazy to think about. We're just getting started on a Victory Monday in Kansas City. Vinnie Pasquantino, our NFL insider, he was at Arrowhead with Bobby Wood Jr. last night. We'll get his thoughts on the game. We'll talk about the Super Bowl with him next.
Cody and Gold.
I didn't sleep well. I was drunk.
Brought to you by Heartland Men's Health, the leader in men's sexual health. Thousands of men have been successfully treated for low T, ED, and more, all with discretion and compassion. Make your appointment at heartlandmenshealth.com. 96.5, The Fan.
Super Bowl 59, 1 game, 2 teams, endless possibilities. And there's no better way to make every play more exciting than with FanDuel Sportsbook. Whether you're predicting the first touchdown, who's going to take home the MVP trophy, or the coin toss, FanDuel makes it easy to place your bets and feel the thrill of every moment. Live betting all game long. You can jump into the action, adjust your bets, ride the wave of excitement from kickoff to the final whistle. Plus, to make the Super Bowl even sweeter, new customers can score $200 when you make your first bet. Just place a $5 bet, and if you win, you'll get $200 in bonus bets. Download the app or head to FanDuel.com/Alex and bet with FanDuel, official partner of Super Bowl 59 and 96.5 The Fan. 21 and present in Kansas. First online real money wager only. $5 first deposit required. Bonus issued as non-withdrawable bonus bets, which expire 7 days after receipt. Restrictions apply. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. FanDuel is offering online sports wagering in Kansas under an agreement with Kansas Star Casino, LLC. Gambling problem? Getting help is your best bet. Call 1-800-522-4700 or visit ksgamblinghelp.com.
Taxes was not knowing your full financial picture. Now Taxes is getting and maximizing your refund all in one place. Credit Karma, where a TurboTax expert can do your taxes for you. They'll get you the most money back, guaranteed. Then you can do more with all that money, all in Credit Karma. Now this is Taxes. Intuit Credit Karma with TurboTax. Get started today. See guarantee details at turbotax.com/guarantees. Experts only available with TurboTax Live.
It starts as a nuisance and you just put up with it, but then that awful joint pain impacts everything in your life. Walking, climbing stairs, even getting in and out of the car hurts. Hey, it's Bob Fesco. I'm talking about that always there joint pain in your knees, hips, shoulders, and back. But here's the good news. QC Kinetics. Groundbreaking treatments for arthritis pain. Long-term relief is now possible with no downtime. Tens of thousands of QC Kinetics patients would tell you, don't wait, make the call today. These new orthobiologic cellular therapies, including PRP treatments, can revitalize your joints without going under the knife. Look, joint pain doesn't get better with time, so before it's absolutely debilitating, see if you're a candidate for these life-changing regenerative treatments. Call QC Kinetics today for your free consultation. 816-412-6299. That's 816-412-6299. QC Kinetics off 435 in State Line and in Gladstone. 816-412-6299.
Make Gates Barbecue your go-to for the Big Game Watch Party. Whether you're the host or a guest, the Big Game Watch Party won't be complete without Gates Barbecue sauce and seasonings. Gates seasonings go great on popcorn as a fun topping for dips or sprinkle on chips for that extra flavor pop. Nothing says the big game like a Gates party tray. Stop by any of their 5 locations and pick one up. You'll be the hit of the party. Spice up your Big Game Watch Party with Gates Barbecue. We still do it the old-fashioned way.
Your skin tells a story. At KMC Dermatology and Med Spa, we understand that stress, time, and life can leave their mark, but it's never too late to refresh, renew, and restore your skin. With 25 expert providers across multiple locations, we make glowing skin easy. Same week appointments? Absolutely. Select Saturday appointments available? You got it. From medical dermatology to advanced aesthetic treatments, we're here to help you look and feel your best. Schedule your appointment today at kmcpa.com. KMC Dermatology and Med Spa. Beyond the surface.
Paid for client portrayal and endorsement. Choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based solely upon advertisements. Past results afford no guarantee of future results, and every case is different and must be judged on its own merits.
I got hurt in a car wreck. Give me one good reason why I should call DM Law.
How about 3 great reasons you should call us? 1, it's easy. You can hire us today on your phone. 2, it's fast. We can start helping you today. 3, the results.
After my wreck, DM Law got me $200,000. Mike's got this.
Call me. I've got this.
816-888-7500. Mike's got this. Many people consider selling their homes independently to save on real estate commissions. While this might seem appealing, especially in today's market, independent sellers often overlook the significant financial benefits of working with a professional. Collaborating with an expert like Dawn Sharp and the Sharp Homes team, brokered by Epic Realty, can greatly enhance your profits and overall experience in the selling process. So contact the only agent I would trust if I needed to sell my home. You can Google Dawn and her team at Sharp Homes Team or visit them at homesforsaleInKC.com.
Diabetes, high blood pressure, anxiety meds, everyone's on them. If you're a 50-year-old male, maybe a bit porky, and you may even have type 2 diabetes, $1 million of term insurance may only cost you about $200 a month. Call Term Provider. Speak with Big Lou at 800-511-3535. Big Lou will find a term life policy for you even if you have type 2 diabetes, are overweight, or have high blood pressure. Term Provider has helped thousands of people like you who think they can't afford term life insurance. To buy $1 million of affordable term life for you, all you need to do is call Big Lou at 800-511-3535. Lou will make sure the scales are tipped in your favor. Call 800-511-3535. Big Lou will answer your call and work to fit you into a term life policy that you can afford. Remember, Big Lou's like you. He's on meds too. Call 800-511-3535. 800-511-3535 or biglou.com.
Whether you're tinkering in your garage,
or tackling big projects, if you know the value of working with your hands, you know Harbor Freight. And you can be confident knowing that at Harbor Freight, you can get quality tools at prices that work just as hard as you do. Because the only thing more satisfying than a job well done is a job well done, well under budget. Whatever you do it for less at Harbor Freight.
At Uline, the prevailing opinion is, if you don't live it, you don't believe it. The people at Uline believe in hard work, and they live it by being there 24/7 to answer your call, having 41,000 items in stock, and offering same-day shipping from 12 locations across North America. Business owners, sellers, buyers, shippers, and packers believe it. Uline is the hard-working, dependable source for your shipping and industrial supplies. Visit uline.com.
Fesco and Dusty live from New Orleans all next week for Super Bowl 59, right here on your new home for Chiefs football. 96.5 The Fan, KFNZ FM and AM, HD1 and HD2, Kansas City, an Odyssey sports station.
Again, going to a knee. You can doubt the Chiefs. You can dislike the Chiefs. You can disrespect the Chiefs. You're going to have to deal with the Chiefs being the first team in National Football League history to win back-to-back Super Bowls and go to the Super Bowl for a chance for a three-peat. The Kansas City Chiefs have just done something that's never been done, and the Kansas City Chiefs Kingdom rocket has gone past Pluto. The Chiefs win the AFC Championship 32-29.
Mitch Holthus on the call right here on your home for the Chiefs, 96.5 The Fan. Welcome back in. It's Cody and Gold, Alex Gold, Cody Tapp, Drew Nixon with you as the Chiefs are headed to New Orleans for a chance at a three-peat. And as Mitch said there, no team has ever come this close to a three-peat in NFL history. And it's time to check in with our VinFL insider, Vinnie Pasquantino. The reason why we're having him in on a Monday, it's a day early. He was at the game. He was at Arrowhead last night. Vinny, what's going on, man? How was it?
It was awesome. I'm driving on, I think I'm on 49 South right now. So I'm in KC, just taking it all in. Just left the stadiums like 30 minutes ago. Yeah, that game was sick last night. Now I'm 3-0 at Arrowhead.
That's true.
You're undefeated. So are you getting down to New Orleans so you can make it 4-0, Or spring training going to cause a problem there, I guess, huh?
So I go to spring training the next day after the Super Bowl, but I'm pretty sure I got an invite to the Super Bowl last night. I'm going to need to circle back on that one. Maybe.
Was it from Bobby Witt Jr.?
No. No. So we'll see what happens.
Look, if for some reason you don't need the ticket, Alex will take it,
Are you guys going to go down there for Radio Row?
We are not this year. We've been spoiled. We've got to go 3 years in a row. The morning show's going this go around. It's their shot at it now.
Steven Spector, get the fellas to the Super Bowl. What are you doing?
How did last night compare? You said it. You've been to a couple Chiefs games. You've been to now, 2 AFC title games. It was a classic game. It was another one of those great back and forths between Josh Allen and Patrick Mahomes, but you were on the field before the game. You obviously were experiencing the elements later in the game too. So just what was that like for you compared to maybe a few years ago?
Yeah, it was pretty cool. I don't know, just watching two good teams play football live is a pretty cool thing. I still always laugh because sometimes I like watching games on TV better because I know what's going on.
Yeah,
there were some plays that happened that I'm like, I have no clue what just happened. Was the Mac Hollins catch ridiculous?
Yes.
Great throw too, though. Great throw.
So I saw it from across the field and never saw a replay of it. And people kept talking about it. I'm like, yeah, that was a cool catch. But I didn't know that it was, ridiculous. Or I didn't know that Mahomes just didn't spike a ball. I thought he threw that ball. I thought that was on purpose. And then I saw the replay this morning. It was like, oh, that's really funny. That ball just slipped out of his hand.
He apologized for a poor spike on Twitter last night because he understood that looked kind of silly in the moment. I guess from an outsider's, right? You're a Jets fan. You're essentially seeking this, right? quarterbacks who can play in AFC title games, coaches who can get you there, all the other things. But at some point, if you're the rest of the NFL, you must think that there's nothing you can do to stop Mahomes. Don't you assume that that's how everyone feels at this point?
I mean, like, as a competitor, no. Like, you would feel like you can, like, if you're the Bills, right? Or say that the game happened the exact same, but in reverse. You'd be sitting there, like, if the Bills won the same exact way the Chiefs won. You'd be like, okay, there were some plays. Like, the first drive for the Bills, like, what in the world was that? But we're sitting there watching, and he's throwing those two passes. Like, those look horrible out of the hand. So, like, you look at it like that, and you're like, okay, there's some things we could have done to win, but why can we never do them against this team? So, yeah, I think it just, I don't know, the Chiefs know what they're doing. I do think it's, like, really funny, though, that you guys feel disrespected.
Well, I think, Vinny, it's more of the annoyance of claiming things are rigged or, like, the refs are intentionally doing something to benefit the Chiefs. I think that's where the disrespect, like, instead of acknowledging the history that they've already made and on the verge of making again, or for the first time in NFL history, I think that's where Chiefs fans feel disrespected.
Yeah, I just think, too, like, from an outsider, is like, what I think people find annoying is, like, they won the Super Bowl last year, and immediately it was three-peat. Every team's like, shoot, man, I just like to win one.
Yeah, I mean, that's probably what it, I mean, ultimately, you're right. I think that's what it is. People are sick of them winning.
Yeah, I mean, that's what it comes down to, is, like, a more casual fan or a non-Kansas City fan wants to see, like, if you don't see your team, you'd rather see different teams do it. But there's also something that's really cool about watching history go down. I think too, AFC teams are just annoyed that they had to run through a gauntlet of New England forever, and then it just, like, did the Chiefs? No, the Titans beat the Patriots in Brady's last game, right?
Yes.
Correct.
Yeah. So, but immediately it was like, okay, that Brady goes to 14 AFC championships, and now Mahomes has been to 8 or 7, whatever it is.
7.
It's like, everybody else just wants to play too. Can't. Too good.
We all know that people are different to watch games with. Some people are, like, more enjoyable to watch games with. Some are a little harder. What does Bobby Witt Jr. do when he watches the game? Is he a loud cheer? Stoic? You seem like you're kind of a reservist maybe at a football game. What's the normal, what's the vibe around you and Bobby when you guys watch a football game together?
Well, the beautiful thing is, like, and not for him, but for me, is people just nonstop talk to him. So I can just kind of hide.
Yeah.
So he's just always talking. Like, there was autograph people at the game yesterday. We're walking in, and somebody is sitting there at the gate, like, with his card, and I'm like, what? I took a few pictures of him with some fans yesterday, which was cool. Like, fans, Royals fans that didn't know that I hit behind him in the order.
Wait, hold on. So, hold on. Someone's sitting there with a Bobby Witt Jr. baseball card for an autograph. Or then let's say someone's asking for a photo, and they're like, hey, you random person, will you take this photo, not knowing that you're also on the team?
Correct.
Oh, my. Oh, my.
That kid's going to feel so stupid.
But, like, I love that. I think that is so funny, and not funny, but, like, just think it's awesome, because who cares, right? Like, I'm just taking a picture. But it is funny walking around with him, because you just see, like, he just really can't really go all out in public that much.
Well, I mean, I'm sure it's pretty hard when you're you're the fourth best shortstop, according to the Shredder.
Yeah, fourth,
in Major League Baseball, you know?
Fourth best, that's right. Yeah, it was cool, though. Like, the respect he has is cool. Like, football broadcasters coming up to him on the field yesterday, that was cool to see. Like, he's got respect of everybody, deservedly so. So, like, I am very thankful that he's in Kansas City, and I feel like Kansas City feels that way about him too, which I really appreciate.
No question about that. That's exactly right. As we're talking to Vinnie Pasquantino, our NFL Insider, you met someone, though, that I think you're a fan of, right? Was it Jay Feely, right?
Yeah. So, I may have had a few drinks yesterday.
As you should.
Maybe. To the disapproval of Jack, but who won't stop DMing me on Instagram, by the way.
Really? Do you think he
yeah.
knows that you mentioned this now, or no?
I don't know.
Okay.
Maybe, but so Jay Feely is standing 3 feet in front of me, and I go, "That's the best kicker in Jets history, right there." And he kind of turns, and we all introduce. So we start talking. I didn't introduce myself. I just shake his hand and go, "I'm a Jets fan."
That's great. That's great.
And then 5 minutes later, I was like, "Oh, by the way, my name is Vinny."
I like you just always introduce yourself. You never try to be like, I'm also an athlete. I've done things, I promise.
There was a funny moment yesterday where we were sitting. There was a photographer talking to Bobby, and then I ended up sitting next to her at one point, and she's like, "Oh, so you're here with Bobby? Like you're one of his friends from home?"
But you said, go ahead. Sorry.
Well, then she was just like, "Oh, what do you do?" I'm like, I play baseball too. She's like, "Oh, nice. Like,
are you good?"
Who?
Oh man.
I'm like, I actually I play for Kansas City as well. She's like, "Here in the major leagues?" And she just kept asking me these what felt like degrading questions.
Just wouldn't just be like, "Wow, it's great to see you." Just kept getting further down in there. Like, are you good?
Like, wait, are you sure? I've never heard of your name.
Okay. You actually play, or you're just on the team?
I think
you play?
What's funny about it, Vinny, your name stands out in a crowd, man. Vinnie Pasquantino is a difficult name to forget, in my opinion.
Most of the time that I get recognized is because they'll see, if I order food and go pick it up or something, it's the name. So, I would say 60% of the time I get recognized somewhere, it's because somebody sees my name before they see me.
Man,
there's a lot of athletes though probably would love to be in the spot you're in. As you said, Bobby maybe can't enjoy the moment as much as you can.
Oh, I'm in an absolute sick honey hole where I can't. I'm not saying I could get away with things, but I'm not the face of the franchise. I just drive in runs. You know what I'm saying? Drive in runs, play some good defense at first base, and win games.
We're talking to our NFL insider, Vinnie Pasquantino. We'll have a chance to talk to you before the Super Bowl as well, but just initial feeling on Eagles-Chiefs again, and they were just this thing in Phoenix. I think actually when we had you on Radio Row, you and Michael Massey, that was the Super Bowl that the Chiefs played the Eagles and beat them.
Yeah, and also, as of a few weeks ago, I have a text with a member of the Jets front office who asked me, that was a weird flex, but he said, who's going to be in the Super Bowl? And I said Eagles-Chiefs. So I feel pretty good about that.
Wow, you're already talking to the new members of the Jets front office or old members?
It's it depends on what you consider front office. Not like football personnel, more like marketing.
Okay. That still counts. You can say front office.
I think,
it's fine.
Yeah, just stick with saying front office. It sounds way cooler.
Yeah, I agree.
Do you have any current NFL plans for how to stop Saquon Barkley?
Pray.
Yeah, feels right.
I don't know what you do. And with Jalen Hurts, too, what did those two combine for 6 touchdowns yesterday?
Yeah, 7 rushing touchdowns as a team.
That was Jalen Hurts' best game in months.
Yeah, I was at the parking lot at Arrowhead Stadium, so I didn't really get to see a whole lot of that game, but looked like a beatdown. Looked like the Commanders could not keep the ball.
Vinny, last question before we let you get out of here, and then we talk to you next week, our VinFL Insider. Someone's been asking for weeks. I asked you separately in a text, but they want the actual response. They want to know how often you hear that you get mistaken for Shane Gillis, the comedian.
All the time. I'm not saying once a day, but it's probably close to that. A lot. And I'll take it. He's funny. I think he's funny, so I'll take it.
Maybe you can get a cameo on his TV show.
Yeah, I've watched 2 episodes of it. Here's a hot take. Yeah, and by the way, I'm on a 3-hour drive, so I'm talking more than usual today probably. But TV shows kind of suck nowadays because they don't do, the 24 episodes. Oh. I miss episodic, whatever you call it, TV.
You like a lot of episodes, not like we did 10 one-hour episodes like Ted Lasso or whatever.
Yeah, and why does it take 6 years to make a season?
I don't know.
Wouldn't you think that it would actually be quicker? I don't know. I don't act. or edit or create stuff. So I don't know how that all works, but it feels like it takes forever for new shows to come out.
Can I make one suggestion to you? You should do what I'd say Patrick Mahomes' teammates are really good about doing, and you should try to get Bobby to put you in a commercial. I mean, look, Patrick's always getting his teammates in there. You should see if Bobby can get you in like a Community America ad.
I'm doing everything I can, as I should be, to ride his coattails. I'm just kidding about that. Yeah, I'd do a commercial.
Okay.
I think I have some commercials out there for Jeremy Walker Automotive. I don't know if they're out there yet, but we filmed them a year ago.
Oh, where is that in Nashville?
No, Jeremy Walker Automotive, Kansas City. Shout out to them.
Okay.
It's in Overland Park, I think. I've been there a few times. Nice place, and Jeremy's awesome. So
there you go, Vinny. Appreciate it. Safe travels back home, man.
Okay, yep, sounds good. Thanks, guys.
There you go. Vinnie Pasquantino, our VNFL insider, joining us here on a Monday. Day earlier.
He was driving 3 hours,
He was at the, I'm assuming, driving home?
St. Louis?
Or somewhere else? Yeah, I don't know. It's a good question.
I
don't
should
know.
have asked. I didn't.
It's a great question. I'm not sure we did not go that far.
We'll get to the bottom of that.
Yeah. That's funny about how things were handled at Arrowhead, though.
I mean, it is kind of different. Like, I imagine, if you're with Bobby Witt Jr., I'm
just talking about the people outside the stadium with baseball enough to where you're an autograph collector. So you have Bobby Witt Jr.'s autograph or a card. You ask him for an autograph, and then you say, "Can you take a photo?" And you have no clue the guy you're asking to take the photo is also on the Royals and isn't just a random Royals player. Dude, it's in the middle of the order for the Kansas City Royals.
It's right behind Bobby,
who went to the playoffs for the first time in a decade.
I know. And again, he's 6'5". His name is Vinnie Pasquantino. I just feel like he wouldn't blend in with a crowd. He might not, most of us go, I could just kind of blend into a crowd. Nobody would ever think anything of it, right?
Yeah.
I'm not as famous as Vinny, but nobody would really think anything of it. Vinnie Pasquantino, it feels like he'd stand out.
You see him walk by and it's I think I could be an athlete. He just, you stand out a little bit.
Coming up at noon today, Andy Reid will speak to the media right here on your home for the Chiefs 96.5. The Fan will hear him as they get set to head to New Orleans, to head to another Super Bowl, going for a three-peat. We'll continue to take your text at 913-586-7965. How you feeling on a Monday? Once again, this is, you say, wake me up when the dream's over. This is reality in Kansas City, though. This is reality, and the beautiful thing, it's not ending anytime soon. Not only do we get 2 more weeks to just bask in the glory and maybe the hate that exists out there, which is fun, but Patrick Mahomes is under 30. Andy Reid, despite Mike Florio's great attempts, is not retiring anytime soon. Travis Kelce maybe does, but we'll see. We still don't know what his future is. Chris Jones still played at a high level. I saw some metrics that were out there in the first half. Chris Jones, despite the sack wasn't there, the analytics and some of the advanced numbers on Chris Jones was how dominant he was, the attention he was garnering.
And when they weren't
the first half.
when they were doing one-on-one, he was getting killed. He had 11 one-on-one snaps in the first half. He got quarterback pressures on 7 of them.
Mm-hmm.
So, when they made a mistake and didn't double team him, they were screwed. There were so many players that stood out. I will say this is a second consecutive. This is a Brett Veach thing, I think. But the players obviously deserve credit because they got to play in the field. This is the second consecutive year that the Chiefs offense has a rookie wide receiver absolutely doing things. Xavier Worthy had 101 total yards yesterday, had 86 yards receiving, had a touchdown, was their best weapon. They had zero answer for how to guard Xavier Worthy the entire game. He was phenomenal, not to mention the incredible catch, which was a catch, by the way. But every part of his game yesterday was on display. He's making tough contested catches. He's going underneath. He's just using his speed to get to the outside where DeMar Hamlin's hopeless. He was never going to get to the edge there. They had every conceivable advantage.
We're just seeing Xavier Worthy kind of grow up before our eyes here. You're right. Rashee Rice last year, week 10 on, kind of stepped up. It was week 10, week 11 on this year for Xavier Worthy, and he is a much different wide receiver today than what he was in week 11, certainly than what he was in week 1. His development's been pretty special to see. For the first 2 months, it was a lot about field awareness, not knowing where he was, and like the downfield frustrations. And then he's turned into an all-around wide receiver for this team. And knowing that this is just year one for him and all the experience he's getting and thinking about what the future is, you should be very, very excited. He spoke in the locker room after the game about that contested catch, but also he thinks there's still more in the tank here for him.
Hey, that contested catch, any more? Did you know when you went up there you were definitely going to get that?
No, I knew I was going up to get the ball. I wasn't thinking anything else.
Did the defender say anything to the ref? Did you think that he had it or anything like that?
I definitely had the ball. He didn't have it.
Because they challenged, right?
Yeah, they challenged it.
Yeah. And the Chiefs drafted up to get you. Does that mean anything to you too?
Man, like I said, man, I feel like it was a disrespect. They wouldn't grab to me. They wouldn't grab a receiver right after they traded their pick to me. So I took it as they didn't want me. So that's all. I just took it with a chip on my shoulder.
So you had extra motivation today,
100%.
what you said? Yeah.
Career best for yardage tonight. That just be a perfect time for that?
Man, I feel like there's more in the tank, man. More in the tank.
Man of his word, by the way. He had said on Friday, right after we had finished up the show, he had done a presser and said that he did have a chip on his shoulder because he took disrespect that Buffalo didn't pick him. And instead, they traded that pick to Kansas City, and then like 10 picks later, selected Keon Coleman. Just a real quick stat line check. I could type like that guy in the Chiefs press conference. Keon Coleman had one catch for like 10 yards in the entire game last night. Xavier Worthy had over 100 total yards and a tutty. I think he's being honest. I think he does take the disrespect that the Bills could have taken a wide receiver and could have taken him and traded himself down to Keon Coleman. I don't care how you motivate yourself. Seems fine by me because it worked last night.
It definitely worked. And yeah, he's getting better every week. And then at the end there, he was asked about the numbers. And he thinks there's more in the tank. He think this. Good. We'll see what he can ultimately become.
It was a career best in the AFC title game.
It was. It definitely was. And they're going to have 2 weeks to find different ways to get him involved in this offense as well. Some different looks that the Eagles haven't seen on tape. And his confidence level has got to be at an all-time high as well. That's what I love about the performance he just had too, because there was a point prior to, I'll keep using week 11, the Bills game, where, because of the issues down the field, you wonder about frustration setting in, and where things were at with the rapport with Patrick Mahomes. I mean, those were real questions everybody was having early on, especially on deep passes. And then now that seems so silly looking back. And now it seems like, other than Kelsey, he's the most trusted target that Mahomes has in this offense. And that's a wide receiver room and an offense that has Kelsey and Hollywood Brown and D-Hop. And I still think DeAndre Hopkins continues to not get enough credit for the help and development because of Xavier Worthy. Because Xavier Worthy has spoken about that publicly before, that D-Hop, his veteran presence, he's like, I can't give away all the secrets, but he's picked up some things from DeAndre Hopkins along the way as well. Let's get to a quick trash of the day.
Trash of the day.
Is it Chiefs specific?
It is. You guys may have seen Adam Schefter over the weekend.
Unbelievable framing.
So,
this was.
Look, just stick to breaking news, man. Stick to the insider stuff. I think that might go a little bit better for you. For whatever reason, there seemed to be a clear, and maybe the reason was just wanting clicks, although I didn't expect a Twitter account of the size of Adam Schefter and a guy that makes as much money as he has needing to engagement tweets, if you will, and seek engagement from tweets like some of the random, Dove Kleiman Twitter accounts and all that. But he was talking about how the NFL was looking into changing some of the rules and replay assists and all that. That's fine. Like we know that that's probably something that they're going to take a look at. But he phrased it as, quote, for all those complaining that Patrick Mahomes gets too many calls, relief soon could be on the way. NFL replay assist is expected to expand this offseason into plays that could include the quarterback slide, league sources told ESPN. Intentionally using Patrick Mahomes to get clicks, because he's not the first quarterback that has slid and had a questionable call, but feeding into the narrative to get clicks. That's all that was. I didn't expect that.
That was engagement farming.
I did not expect that from one Adam Schefter. Then he doubled down later on, and he cited the plays. These plays could be reviewable in the future.
And sure, two plays that they announced were not the wrong calls.
Correct.
According to
and
NFL
that was the issue. Yeah.
It was sad. It was sad to see. And look, maybe I've just lost respect slowly over time, Gold, on Schefter, but that tweet was sad. Sending out an engagement farming nonsense. For those who think Mahomes gets All the calls.
That's how a lot of people feel. It's crazy.
You make your money on the
Different
SEO right now. The easiest way to get as many clicks as humanly possible is to say, the game is rigged for the Chiefs. Click here. But you're Adam Schefter. You make $10 million a year. You got NFL owners on speed dial. You don't have to engagement farm on social media. You're good. You make enough. That's what stood out, right? It's like, you don't have to do this. Like, you and I both know why the Dove Klymans of the world send out nonsense like that. God, Schefter. That's embarrassing. I thought it was an embarrassing one for him as a professional.
It was. Yeah, he's had a couple here recently, actually.
Oh, there was one a couple of months ago we talked about, too, that seemed
there was the Deshaun Watson stuff from a couple years ago. There was a Dwayne Haskins tweet when he passed away, and then talking about how bad he was at football in the same tweet about a guy that passed away. Very weird stuff from one Shefty out there. And, again, embrace the hate. And people right now just hate the Kansas City Chiefs because they're winning. And I didn't think it would get to prominent media members, but it has. And we'll see how the next 2 weeks goes. The Chiefs are headed back to a Super Bowl. And up next, we'll talk more about that, how they got to this point in time, and some of those key moments in this franchise's history to get to this point.
Cody and Gold, brought to you by Heartland Men's Health, the leader in men's sexual health. Thousands of men have been successfully treated for low T, ED, and more, all with discretion and compassion. Make your appointment at heartlandmenshealth.com. Follow the station on Instagram for ticket giveaways and behind-the-scenes content from the show at The Fan 965.
Missouri sports fans, I've got good news. Underdog is available to play in your state. It's the best place to cash in on all your takes during the playoffs, just like I did yesterday. You know we had a show lineup placed in there that did great last night. Their champs game could win up to 1,000 times your money just by choosing higher or lower on player stats, yards, touchdowns, interceptions. You want to get in some NBA action? That's available to you tonight. You want to wait a couple weeks till we're in championship mode? All of those things are available as well over at Underdog. It's the only champs platform that puts the power of cash out in your hands. This weekend, you can either just keep it riding or your entry or tap win now like I did this weekend and cash out whenever you want. And with Underdog's double flex option, you can even take 2 L's and turn it into a W. Underdog is the best place to play. Sign up, deposit now using promo code TAPP, T-A-P-P. You can get up to $1,000 in bonus cash instantly. And if you're in Missouri, an additional $50 in bonus cash when you play your first $5 entry. That's promo code TAPP. Must be 18 plus and present in the state where Under Fantasy operates. Terms apply. $10 deposit minimum. See UnderFantasy.com for terms and conditions. Concern with your play. Call 1-800-GAMBLER. Visit www.ncbgambling.org.
Continuous improvement engineer needed by CertainTeed LLC to work in Kansas City, Kansas. Responsible for identifying and implementing process improvements in manufacturing operations. Interested candidates should send resumes to CertainTeed LLC HR. Job code 1416 103 Funston Road, Kansas City, Kansas 66115. That's CertainTeed LLC HR. Job code 1416 103 Funston Road, Kansas City, Kansas 66115.
Real stories with Hellsberg.
After we met and we started dating, Nancy and I lived 150 miles apart, and I would drive my old jalopy car, and it was roughly a 3-hour distance. It took 3 years I drove across that state back and forth dating her every weekend.
Persistence.
And I would have never stopped. I had a lot of energy back then. 36 years ago.
At Hellsberg, find the engagement ring worthy of your story. Designed with the love, care, and craft it deserves. Visit a Hellsberg store or hellsberg.com.
Sailor Jerry's Rum is proud to present FAC 28. See at least a dozen MMA fights streamed live worldwide from the Cable Dahmer Arena Saturday, February 8th. In the main event, KC's own Muhammad Zwolak will take on Oklahoma champ Nick Fields. Get tickets now for FAC 28 through Ticketmaster or the Cable Dahmer Arena box office. Sponsored by Dream Machine Motorsports, Hoy Excavating, Apple Roofing, and Tintmaster.
Steve here for Connolly Plumbing Solutions, your neighborhood plumber. It's cold. I bet you are starting to notice your water heater is no longer keeping up as well as it used to. So, we are offering $200 off a tank-style water heater replacement, or if you want 1 hour long shower or more, we can install a tankless water heater with $400 off. This month only, so call Connolly Plumbing Solutions at 913-768-7676 or visit ConnollyPlumbingSolutions.com to schedule.
Listen, you've been making house payments for years, right?
And right now, your home's value has never been higher, right? That means you're likely sitting on a small fortune in equity. And good for you. That's cash you could use to help secure your retirement, solve all your financial burdens, enable you to travel everything you want. The catch is, you're not ready to move. No problem. You don't have to with TrueHold. Sell and stay leaseback program. It's a genius financial strategy. You sell your home to TrueHold while its value is high. You bank all the equity in cash now, and you can stay as long as you like with an easy, affordable lease. And TrueHold pays property taxes, insurance, and maintenance. TrueHold unlocks your wealth without uprooting your life. Get a TrueHold offer now while your home's value is sky high. Call 1-855-300-9993 or visit TrueHold.com. The smarter, faster way to cash out without moving out. TrueHold.com.
Shopping with your parents can be embarrassing.
Why would they sell jeans with holes in them? I'm going to speak to the manager.
Mom!
That hoodie is giving. You should get it. YOLO.
Thanks to the Chase mobile app, your kid can shop independently while you keep an eye on their spending. So you can go from
we can be twinsies
to
how was shopping? Saw you stayed on budget.
Thanks, Mom. Freedom for kids, control for parents. That's family banking from Chase.
Account subject to approval. Chase mobile app is available for select mobile devices. Message and data rates may apply. JP Morgan Chase Bank N.A. member FDIC.
At David's Bridal, love is in every stitch. From the initial sketch to the final details, each style is designed with exquisite craftsmanship. Every wedding gown, bridesmaid look, prom dress, and special occasion style in between features handcrafted details filled with love. Come see the magic in person. Book an appointment and sign up for Diamond Loyalty to save 15% on your first purchase. Earn points towards special rewards and more at davidsbridal.com.
In the dynamic world of programmatic ad buying, Viant is your ultimate CTV partner. Target with precision. Buy with confidence. Viant empowers you with AI-driven technology that reaches your audience where they engage most, ensuring your message hits home. And the campaign results? Transparent, thanks to Viant's advanced measurement suite. For media buyers who demand the best, Viant delivers. Viant, elevate your CTV campaign performance.
Lowe's knows how to help make your Super Bowl 59 party a touchdown. Let us help you prep your home to host with top brands like Charbroil, Blackstone, and LG, so you can be the MVP of game day. Plus, use the Lowe's app to find what you need for a seamless shopping run. Or huddle up with our Lowe's Red Vest associates to help make all your game time hosting decisions.
Right now at Wendy's, get 2 of these fave items for just $7. The spicier classic chicken sandwich, Dave's single, or 10-piece nugs. It's an incredible deal, but an insanely difficult choice. Do you go double chicky sando, both spicy and classic, 1 beefy and 1 chicky? Or maybe you go all in on one and go Nug Max. 2 faves for just $7? Gotta be Wendy's.
At participating Wendy's for a limited time only. Select a request 2 for $7 deal to redeem. Not valid in a combo or with saucy nugs. Single item at regular price. Prices may be higher in Alaska and Hawaii.
Chiefs coverage sponsored by Renner Garage Door. RENNER forward and back.
I was coined almost Andy Reid when I was on a radio show, and it's stuck with me ever since. Renner Garage Door can help you not get stuck out in the cold this winter. Book your annual maintenance or get a free replacement quote today.
RENNER. RENNER.
You're listening to 96.5 The Fan from the Mission Plumbing, Heating, and Cooling Studios. Welcome in to the Chiefs Red Half Hour. Every day at 11:30 with Cody and Gold on your new home for Chiefs football. 96.5 The Fan.
Chiefs go flip bone, 1st and 10 at the Buffalo 12. They give it off, left side, Kareem Hunt at the 10, angling to the 5, into the end zone, left side, touchdown, Kansas City. It's a 90-yard drive to start the AFC Championship game on a 12-yard run by Kareem Hunt.
Mitch Holthus on the call. That was a perfect opening drive. I mean, maybe
their best drive of the season?
Probably.
They didn't even have a third down.
I would have to go look. The fact that you didn't have a single third down the entire drive and the way they spread the ball around and then ultimately Kareem Hunt, yeah, that was about as good as it gets. They jumped out. That was the offense that we saw from many years ago, ultimately. It's a big reason why they put up a season high 32 points in the win. we'll talk more about Kareem Hunt, I'm sure, as we get closer to the Super Bowl. What a redemption story this is for him, and like to be able to have an opportunity. Not many people get an opportunity after making mistakes that he made to then come back to the same organization and not just come back, but be a huge part.
Yeah.
I mean, they need every bit of what they've gotten out of Kareem Hunt here in 2024, now 2025. And that was, of course, a huge run to get things going. Then he had a couple big ones late in the game as well. But the Chiefs are headed back to a Super Bowl, 5th time in 6 years. We all know the 3P campaign that they started talking about the minute they were on the stage last year at Vegas's Super Bowl celebration and popping champagne in the Raiders locker room. Yep. And now here they are. They're 1 win away. No team has ever been closer to three-peating than the Chiefs are heading into the game against the Eagles.
I mean, they can taste it. I was a lot like the rest of the NFL. When they went to a full salary cap, I didn't think it would even out like this. And I, like most people, thought when Tom Brady finally left the AFC that we were done with this one team runs the show. At that time, when Tom Brady had left the AFC, he had 6 Super Bowl titles. He'd been to a gajillion AFC title games. They had won a million divisions. But the Chiefs had just like made a AFC title game. You were talking about how sad you were after that one, thinking, damn, that was their chance.
I did.
And if Chris Jones had or if D Ford had just been on sides, I mean, what could have happened? Had they not called that personal foul on Chris Jones? What could have been? I didn't think so quickly we would get a team to just come here and not just, what stands out about this is, they're not just running the AFC. They're running the whole damn NFL. They're stopping everybody from this. Josh Allen is going to be a Hall of Fame quarterback one day. I'm actually pretty confident about that. I also saw some of the odds market shifted that implies Josh Allen might be winning the MVP and not Lamar Jackson, even though Lamar Jackson was an all-pro. So he might have guys with 3 total MVPs between the two of them, tons of statistical stats and all this stuff. And he just keeps their head below water. I know that it's like saying it out loud doesn't make it sound any less silly. If you really have to think about it, it is ludicrous that we are sitting here in Kansas City as a team prepares for the 5th Super Bowl trip in 6 years. Well, I know it feels like we've been doing the show a long time, but we started in January 1st of 2020. And now this is in year 6, so we've done 6 playoff runs, this being one of them. They've been in the Super Bowl 5 of those 6 years. In the Super Bowl.
So you're
not a deep playoff run, not winning the division. In the actual Super Bowl.
See, you're laughing as well. That's what I'm saying. I almost can't help but laugh. The timeline, the world we are living in right now in Kansas City, we've said over and over during this run, the golden era of sports in this town, and there's no doubt it doesn't get any better than this, except we said that last year and the year before, and I guess it kind of does. They just keep on going to this game, so I no longer should say it doesn't get any better than this. It might. I mean, if they three-peat, it gets better than what the feeling is right now. They're a win away from three-peating, and you're right. There was moments that I think anybody in Kansas City, especially if you grew up here, you just dreamed one day, could you have a shot? Could you have a real shot? And boy, oh boy, what a complete 180. It's not just about having a shot. They've got a shot at being the greatest dynasty in NFL history. And certainly with a win, doing something in a three-peat, that would absolutely give them that. Like that's what's nuts. That the best quarterback, the best coach, the best franchise, this success, and it's happening all in Kansas City. That's the part that I can't get over still. And when people say like it doesn't feel real, even though this is reality, it's not a dream. They've been doing this, as you said, going on 6 years now, really 7 if we include the minute Patrick Mahomes and Andy Reid were joined together via draft. And Brett Veach, of course, and John Dorsey get credit for that. It's been remarkable. I mean, the fact that the AFC title game celebration on the field, like that, we know how that routine goes. Mm-hmm. Like
and then it all feels familiar. It's like when Clark Hunt stands up there and he's like, or Andy's like, "How about those Chiefs?" I'm like, Andy on a podium saying that sentence seems familiar. It seems like second. It's the same as like if you walked into your house and you used to say the same thing, like, "Hi, Mom," or "How was your day?" Like when my kids get off the bus before we do other stuff, I make them tell me like one fun thing they did at school today. We do that every day. That's how it feels. Like it's the same thing. Oh, Andy's up there saying, "How about those Chiefs?" It doesn't even like feel different in a lot of ways, which speaks to its like, I understand the magnitude of it. I'm not pretending that. But the familiarity that comes with this level of success. The truth is that Patrick Mahomes is the single biggest cutthroat in this league's history. If he goes on to win 4 Super Bowls, he will be 8 years ahead of Tom Brady's 4th Super Bowl. He will already have 4 and 5 Super Bowl appearances. He'll have a 3-peat. Like, you and I just did this thing on Friday, and I'm assuming we'll do it next Friday, right before 2 weeks, right before the Super Bowl again. It'll be like, okay, just real quick. Here's what's on the line. The Chiefs can 3-peat. Patrick Mahomes will become the second quarterback ever to have, or third quarterback ever to have 4 Super Bowl titles. He will only trail Tom Brady. He already has the most playoff wins in NFL history. Travis Kelce will get a hair step closer to all the Jerry Rice records. Patrick Mahomes will get a hair closer. He's pretty much second in every major category anyway. This whole group has a chance to be the best ever at all of it. Brett Veach has a chance to go down as the best GM ever. Andy Reid has a chance to go down as the best coach ever. Patrick Mahomes has a chance to be the best quarterback ever. Travis Kelce, I think, is already the best tight end ever. Like, they have a chance to be the best at whatever they've ever done.
Yeah. When you have dynasty like they have currently, we said when it started, like, how many Hall of Famers are going to be part of this thing? And the runs that the Patriots went on, how many Hall of Famers they had out of that, and you can see why. There's a couple obvious ones for the Chiefs, but this thing doesn't show any signs of stopping right now. That's why I think the hate also is where it's at. It's not just the narrative of officiating and everything, but why people are so upset is because they know that this isn't 39-year-old Patrick Mahomes. This isn't like, hey, Andy Reid's retiring. No, this is all Steve Spagnuolo's not getting it. And unfortunately for him, he's not getting a head coaching gig. The vacancies are basically all filled.
It'll be Spags and Nagy back with Reid and the whole crew.
Like, it's nothing's changing. Maybe Travis Kelce is done after this year. Who knows? We don't know that yet. That's a guess for everybody at this point. But otherwise, Trey McDuffie's not going anywhere. Right, Chris Jones is locked up for a couple more years. Like,
eventually, some of these players will go.
Xavier Worthy, we just got done, gloating about him. He's going into a second year next year. Rasheed Rice, I know, will be suspended next year, but he'll be back in the middle of the season. Okay. Like, you just keep going through. They're drafting success at wide receiver now after a couple years of swing and missing.
Yeah.
Here they are. They've hit on the last 2 that they've drafted and look like studs at this point in time. It's remarkable. The fact that you have these pieces in place are why you're going to continue to have sustained success. And it will be. I know you said they're already there, but I'm talking about the consensus opinion. If they win in New Orleans, they will be the best dynasty in NFL history because the Patriots had 2 separate ones. So this will be the best dynasty if the Chiefs complete the task because they will be the only team that ever 3-peats.
Yeah, I mean, it's just, it's a remarkable feeling. I see the text line asking, no, Alex and I are not going to the Super Bowl this year. We'll be staying home, which is fine. I'm looking forward to it. We've got to go to 3 Super Bowls in a row. I can't really complain.
Yeah, cannot complain. I'd be lying if I told you I wasn't bummed. Of course, wouldn't you be bummed? Of course I'm bummed I'm not going. But we've had 3 to go to. It's time for somebody else to have
I'm excited to see the coverage down there from Fesco and Dusty.
It's time for somebody else to have a chance to go. So yeah, Fesco and Dusty, they'll be broadcasting live the entire week. They'll bring you great coverage. We'll have them on our show too as well. So we'll check in with those guys, and all our social media will have coverage from there. So they're going to do a great job with it and everything like that. But yeah,
it just speaks to the idea that, that is part of the sentence. Yeah. Well, I've gotten to go to the last 3 Super Bowls that where people were able to go to. Technically, we have been to 3 of the last 4. We didn't go to Tampa Bay. Nobody went to Tampa.
Yeah.
It was in the middle of the COVID year. We have been to 3 Super Bowls. The Chiefs won all 3 of those. They have a chance to now go to a 4th and win that one too. All of it is just absurd. I'd love for us to maybe this week, maybe next week. I'm open to it. I'd love for us all, Drew too, divvy up the pie for me on Reid, Veach, and Mahomes. Give me that. If this is all 100% of the stake, where are we going? Because what stands out the most in this game like this is what you get out of Patrick Mahomes, what you get out of these players. Because, look, for instance, last night at Unlikely Heroes, let's say. Patrick Mahomes is, and we talk about elevation of play. Did anyone on this show have any notion, any thought that Juju Smith-Schuster was going to be a part of the plan? Anybody have Juju Smith-Schuster with 2 30-yard catches on the bingo card? Because I'll be honest, I didn't. I openly mocked Mike Florio for even questioning that Juju Smith-Schuster hasn't been a part of this offense.
Yeah, and then, he got started right out of the gate, too.
Bills defense on 2nd and 7. Down the middle of the field, again on target. Juju Smith-Schuster down to the 20.
And then, be honest, you thought, okay, he'll have that one catch. That'll be it. He'll just have the one catch.
Down the middle, got an open man, breaking the tackle. It's Smith-Schuster.
ends up with the second most yards receiving on the team in the game. Props to him, He also, another player, was not on this team initially. First day at training camp, he was not on this team.
Nope.
Albert Breer thought his knee was going to explode a long time ago.
That was a million
Was it
years
Albert
ago
Breer?
now.
I think
Yeah,
it was Albert
Breer. His knee was, but
because he's a Patriots guy. And that's when he played in New England.
There's a certain theme, Drew. We're getting at. There's a certain theme.
Oh, the Patriots guys feel threatened.
Anybody with ties to New England is very threatened that so quickly their dynasty could not be the best dynasty in NFL history.
Normally, you know what? Normally we get like guests from the cities in which the teams are going to play. Like you can imagine, we're reaching out to people in Philadelphia to talk about things about the Eagles. Should we just get one person on in Boston and be like, "Are you guys okay? Are you scared?" Because if he wins this, I know you're still going to be like, but he won that one Super Bowl against,
and no cheating.
And it wasn't even a Patriot.
And no cheating scandal. Like, we have these crazy conspiracy referee stuff out there, but that franchise actually had cheating scandals. And one was proven to be true. The other one, admittedly, Deflategate was kind of a joke. Spygate, very real. Very real thing.
Very much.
That happened for Brady and for
I don't even know if we're going to
Patriots.
need to get somebody else on. We just hear from Brady himself during the broadcast
That's
of how
true.
things are going.
He's going to be on the call. That should be really interesting.
He did say he was jealous of Nick Foles. I don't know if you caught that during the
jealous of
Eagles.
Nick Foles
for what? His nickname or what? For some different reason.
So they showed Nick Foles, and of course
it's a nickname for a reason.
That's what I'm saying.
So they show Nick Foles, and of course he's the one that beat Tom Brady in that Super Bowl. And Tom goes, "I'm jealous of you, Nick. I'm really jealous of you," and I think it was in jest. But
you can't be jealous of Nick Foles when you got 7 of them. But
right, still though, it's going to be interesting to hear Tom call that game.
Don't you guys think though? And this is great for Juju, by the way. Really cool moment. Once again, he's back and has a chance to get another ring, and was not part of the initial offseason plan for this team. And then he steps up big. He had a huge game against New Orleans in Week 5, and then this was his other biggest game of the season, and this one in more magnitude. With the moment, but I still think those routes were probably DeAndre Hopkins, and this is where I'm like, it doesn't matter, like who cares, right? Who's getting it?
Well, he's got 2 weeks to get healthy,
but more and more, I just think D-Hop. There's no way he's healthy. There's just no way. I know Matt Nagy last week said it wasn't by design that he was on the field, but like there were literal those would not be.
Those are his routes.
Those are routes that DeAndre Hopkins would have been running. So it doesn't matter. Like I don't know why I care, but like he's got to be hurt. Otherwise, DeAndre Hopkins to me would be out there. And good for Diop though. He's going to his first Super Bowl no matter what.
Yeah, and he looked, and I think it was Mackenzie Nelson who'd sent out the video of him on the field. You got to feel great for Diop. He spent his entire career in obscurity, essentially. Everybody knew he's a great player, but he didn't even get past the divisional round, right? You're just kind of stuck in ambiguity, which I hope helps. Like the Diop thing is interesting, Gold, because if you are a veteran who still has some juice left in the tank, and the only thing left for you, in your opinion, the only thing you care to do for the rest of your career is win a Super Bowl, well, I don't know why you'd go to any other city. I don't know why you go to any other market. I can't imagine I would even take a visit and be like, I'll just come play for you for the minimum. If you'll take me, I'll be here. Just make it close enough, and we'll call it good. Because, yeah, I do feel good for but I think Diop's not injured. I think he's hurt. I think as a result of that, they're probably limiting his snaps, which now he's got 2 weeks to get healthy. He had a couple weeks before that. He probably just needs a little time to get healthy. But the difference is that guys like Juju get to step up and do those. Justin Watson had a 2-point conversion.
Of course he did, right? Of course
Justin Watson always gets out play, No,
I mean, these guys step up no matter how much involvement they have they can go a month. In Juju's case, really, like 3 weeks, a month without doing much. And then all of a sudden, biggest game of the season, he had a huge role yesterday in the win against the Buffalo Bills, and that's props to him. We were mentioning during Trash of the Day, Adam Schefter, was sending out those tweets, going with the engagement farming. Well, he was on Pat McAfee's show within the last half hour, going full on defense mode. Here it is.
I saw your mentions after you put this out. You obviously were getting cooked, but this is a real combo.
Pat, I would just say this again. The facts are the facts. I presented facts. There was zero, let me be very clear about that, zero intent behind that. I'm a little surprised that people are so offended with factual information. There was zero agenda. It was a number, some stats in conjunction with a story that the NFL is considering expanding replay assist to include plays that include quarterback slides. That's it. Those are the numbers. That's it. No agenda. Listen, Honestly, what the Chiefs are doing is incredible. Who doesn't like watching somebody do something that has never been done in the NFL ever?
Well,
a three-time champion.
A lot of people, Shefty. A lot of people are hating this.
Well, okay, again, I'm not in that camp. I'm just telling you, when that information comes out, the news is that the NFL is going to be expanding replay assist. They're probably going to include the quarterback slide, and here are some numbers. Sorry that offended people. There was zero intent. Just to be very clear about that.
Like I don't like someone I've never met. I hate calling someone I've never met like just a lie. I don't know if he's lying. I would say
you're wrong. It was engagement farm.
I think that's exactly what it is. Like you specifically showed replays of the two plays that everybody was saying was like the conspiracy of the week. You knew that was going to get more traction than if you referenced a week 3 play. You just knew it's fine. But just don't. We're not like it's insulting that you would suggest that like we're naive enough to believe it. That's all it is for me. It's like if you would have cited week 3 play, I would have okay. Well, he really is just trying to present the facts, as he said. But the minute you use the 2 plays that everybody was talking about that the league came out and said was correct, and I know then you'll respond and say, yeah, but the league is just covering. Who do you think is going to be in charge of replay assist? Like, that was the funniest thing for people firing back.
The refs.
Like, well, the league, of course, is covering. Do we not all remember the defensive pass interference review that was botched from the Saints stuff? Mm-hmm. And they didn't, for a year, decided they were going to allow reviews, and they never reviewed them because the officials would never call out their colleagues? Why do we think that would be any different with this? So, yeah, Adam Schefter. He clearly was defending himself.
I'm sorry that putting out numbers. Dude, the slant on the wording is not numbers. You essentially said, for those who think the league is rigged for the Chiefs in penalties, here's what they're going to do. You didn't say, here are the number of penalties for and here are the number against. Make your own decision, which is also leading, I will point out, because you're choosing arbitrary start and end dates, start in times, whatever, right? Mm-hmm. But you didn't phrase it that way at all. And like, I always hate that because everyone's had a buddy like this or a workplace like, I'm sorry, you're so offended. Mm-hmm. I didn't mean to offend you, precious little, like,
I presented the facts or whatever he said. That's what it was.
You had a little slant to it. It's all right. Just be honest about it. Like, don't try to play stupid. Anyway, up next, we're going to hear from Andy Reid as he gets set to head to another Super Bowl. You'll hear it right here on your home for the Chiefs, 96.5 The Fan.
This is Cody and Gold on your home for Kansas City sports. 96.5 The Fan, brought to you by Heartland Men's Health, the leader in men's sexual health. Thousands of men have been successfully treated for low T, ED, and more, all with discretion and compassion. Make your appointment at heartlandmenshealth.com.
Team, I'll be real with you. Time isn't on our side. The Super Bowl is only getting closer. So I'm asking you all, what's it gonna be? Are you gonna do the same old? Or are you gonna step it up this year? Who's going to the Verizon Super Bowl Fan Fest right here in Kansas City? Are you gonna join us for a Super Bowl experience like no other? Catch the game while hanging out with the league's most legendary players. Enjoy live music. Crush game day bites. The Super Bowl only comes once a year. Verizon Super Bowl Fan Fest. You in?
It's all going down at Kansas City Live in the Power and Light District. Tickets are limited. Don't miss out. Visit your local Verizon store and find out about free tickets today. Must be 18 years or older or accompanied by parent or legal guardian to attend. Terms apply. See VerizonFanFest.com for details.
Twin Peaks is the best in the game. Here, your favorite drafts are poured at a frosty 29 degrees and rare barrel-aged whiskeys are served just the way you want them. It's bigger game days and bolder fight nights. I mean, where else can you find a scratch kitchen that always comes in clutch every day from lunch to late night? Only at Twin Peaks, the #1 sports bar.
Stick around after the sun sets. Twin Peaks is open really late. Wind down with bourbon and late night bites.
What I was told was bone on bone. I was going to have knee replacement, and I do not like surgery.
Desperate to avoid surgery, Julie decided to check out QC Kinetics non-surgical regenerative treatments.
My daughter actually works in a Chapel Hill, North Carolina lab, and I sent her all of the information that I was given, and she's like, "Oh, Mom, this is for you. I've heard great things about this." She's like, "You need to try it before ever doing surgery."
Julie started the QC Kinetics natural biologic treatments right in the office, using her own healing properties to help restore her damaged tissue.
I know, my daughter was right. Yeah, it's nice when you've got that person you can go to who might have a little bit more information, especially on the science of it. QC Kinetics, it's life-changing.
Find out if you're a good candidate. Call QC Kinetics now for your free consultation.
Call QC Kinetics, 816-412-6299. That's 816-412-6299. 816-412-6299.
Your skin tells a story. At KMC Dermatology and Med Spa, we understand that stress, time, and life can leave their mark, but it's never too late to refresh, renew, and restore your skin. With 25 expert providers across multiple locations, we make glowing skin easy. Same week appointments? Absolutely. Select Saturday appointments available? You got it. From medical dermatology to advanced aesthetic treatments, we're here to help you look and feel your best. Schedule your appointment today at kmcpa.com. KMC Dermatology and Med Spa. Beyond the surface.
Taxes was not knowing your full financial picture. Now Taxes is getting and maximizing your refund all in one place. Credit Karma, where a TurboTax expert can do your taxes for you. They'll get you the most money back, guaranteed. Then you can do more with all that money, all in Credit Karma. Now this is Taxes. Intuit Credit Karma with TurboTax. Get started today. See guaranteed details at turbotax.com/guarantees. Experts only available with TurboTax Live.
Mornings can start feeling the same. Wake up, brush teeth, go to work. But with breakfast from Wendy's, it's like, wake up, brush teeth, Baconate with a breakfast Baconator. Roll with the sausage breakfast burrito. Buddy it up with a honey buddy. Or get seasoned with seasoned potatoes. And then go to work. Sorry. When you're ready for a fresh wake-up call, gotta be Wendy's.
At participating U.S. Wendy's during breakfast hours.
Are you ready to take your business to the next level? Meet Viant AI, the world's first fully autonomous advertising platform. With Viant AI, you can automate media planning, analyze results, and drive smarter decisions, all while saving you time and resources. Viant AI helps you unlock new potential and boost productivity regardless of your expertise. Visit Viant.ai today and see how the future of artificial intelligence in advertising can work for you.
Whether you're tinkering in your garage or tackling big projects, if you know the value of working with your hands, you know Harbor Freight. And you can be confident knowing that at Harbor Freight, you can get quality tools at prices that work just as hard as you do. Because the only thing more satisfying than a job well done is a job well done, well under budget. Whatever you do it for less at Harbor Freight.
At Uline, the prevailing opinion is, if you don't live it, you don't believe it. The people at Uline believe in hard work, and they live it by being there 24/7 to answer your call, having 41,000 items in stock, and offering same-day shipping from 12 locations across North America. Business owners, sellers, buyers, shippers, and packers believe it. Uline is the hard-working, dependable source for your shipping and industrial supplies. Visit uline.com.
Congratulations, Kansas City. The Chiefs are headed to Super Bowl 59 in New Orleans. 96.5 The Fan, KFNZ FM and AM, HD1 and HD2 Kansas City, and Odyssey Sports Station. What's trending?
What's Trending is presented by Baker University, where graduates earn higher salaries and land jobs faster than any other university in Kansas. Apply today at bakeru.edu. We're expected to hear from Andy Reid in the next couple of minutes. We'll head right out there here on 96.5 The Fan. But of course, number one on What's Trending, the Chiefs are headed back to the Super Bowl, headed to New Orleans to take on the Philadelphia Eagles, a rematch from the Super Bowl a couple years ago out in Phoenix. We'll have some fun with that, I'm sure, as we get closer to the game. Remember all the complaining about the field and the turf? Remember the complaining about the holding call at the end? A lot of storylines. There's an Andy Reid connection. Jalen Hurts, a lot of people think outplayed Patrick Mahomes in that game. There's a lot of fun.
The holding call that the player himself said was holding?
For sure. But the Chiefs, man, 5th Super Bowl in 6 years. just keep on laughing about it, man. It's something else.
It's ludicrous. Next up on What's Trending, the Chiefs are going to the Super Bowl. I'm not here to tell you something different outside of that, unless you wanted to hear, like, Missouri beat Ole Miss. How about just a reminder of how they got there? Xavier Worthy was able to score a touchdown in the AFC Championship game, and this is what it sounded like.
Chiefs stay with an empty backfield. No motion. Through to the left side, wide side of the field. Mahomes looking left. Pass caught at the 5-yard line, angling near side, leaping forward, Xavier Worthy, touchdown! Kansas City burning the defender on the near side, Cole Bishop, and the Chiefs get an 11-yard touchdown pass, Mahomes, to the rookie Xavier Worthy.
He was phenomenal in that game, Gold. I mean, it really was a special moment. Again, going to their 3rd consecutive Super Bowl in 5 in 6 years.
Yeah, next up on What's Trending is the Chiefs are headed to the Super Bowl. We mentioned that. The Chiefs are headed to another Super Bowl in New Orleans, and it was Kareem Hunt on a key touchdown.
Chiefs go flip bone, 1st and 10 at the Buffalo 12. They give it off, left side, Kareem Hunt at the 10, angling to the 5, into the end zone, left side, touchdown, Kansas City. It's a 90-yard drive to start the AFC Championship game on a 12-yard run by Kareem Hunt.
During the week, we discussed it. He just was the fresher back, more effective back right now, and that was evident again.
Yeah.
That was evident again last night against the Buffalo Bills. Let's go out to Arrowhead right now, though, and hear from Chiefs head coach Andy Reid.
Hey, Coach.
How you doing? Can you hear me okay?
We hear you.
We got you, Coach.
All right. I have no injuries to mention to you. I think we came out of the game pretty clean as far as those go. Unless something pops up here, which we'll let you know down the road. So, but listen, we sure appreciated the support that we had yesterday and throughout the night there, and really even to the celebration after the game, everybody stayed, and that was obviously a Chiefs fan, so it was a great event. And when I say all of this, we understand that we've got a big challenge ahead of us coming up with the Eagles. So, but we sure appreciate everybody involved in helping us get to that point. It always starts with the Hunt family and the great job in which they do of supporting and giving us opportunities to be successful. Mark Donovan, who doesn't get a whole lot of credit from anybody, but he's the president of the organization and really does a ton for the organization in so many different ways, and helps bring this community in to be a part of what we do. And and then Brett Veach for the great job that he and his crew do with bringing players in, and then the coaches and players. I mentioned this last night. It takes everybody to get to this point. I say this because we're 19 games into this thing, and it's not about one person or one player or one coach. It's about everybody. It's everybody coming together, and there's no more important game than the one we're going to play in that we need that joint effort. And the other team that we're playing, the Eagles, they're there for a reason, is because they're a good football team. And so we've got to make sure that we keep everything together and work and get a nice plan together for this group. Anyways, with that, time's yours.
Let's start with Sarin. Go ahead, Sarin.
Coach, the short yardage, package that you guys had that you ran on that first 4th down and everything, and it looked like maybe there were some variations of that in some other situations during the game. I'm just curious, is that something? How much of that is stuff that you guys have maybe been working on? You mentioned 19 games, like all the way back to training camp, versus something that was maybe an install this week. When you have that kind of series of plays that all seem to kind of interconnect.
Yeah, sure. some of them we've worked on before. You always add a little wrinkle here and there to them as you go, and you feel the comfort of how the play is being executed in practice. So, but we've experimented with those all the way back to the off season and into camp. I would tell you that Coach Heck does a great job with the run game and putting that together, and so I've always mentioned that he gets everybody involved, but he comes up with some pretty good things there. So my hat goes off to him.
We'll go next to Jesse. Go ahead, Jesse.
Hey, Andy, I know you said after the game last night that the 3rd and 9, the pass appear, I know you guys had a timeout to kind of talk things over. Can you just talk through the thought process of that play call?
Yeah, so on that, Jesse, we go through and we look at this before the game, like if it comes down to a 3rd down or 4th down and games on the line, we talk to the quarterbacks about it, the coaches talk about it. And that was kind of our number one option there as a go-to play for this game. And it was just a matter of hoping that they'd be in the right coverage for that play. So it worked out okay that way. But Matt spends endless time going through all of that with the guys. And you start on Tuesdays and you kind of refine it down till you get to the game. So, we just brought the guys over, calm the storm just a little bit and talk to them about make sure everybody was right on their assignments,
Let's go next to Sam McDowell.
I said he just answered my question. Thanks, Andy.
Awesome.
Come on, Sam, you got to have another one.
Let's go to Vahe. Go ahead, Vahe.
I'll come in with 2 just to help you out, Andy. Hey, congratulations again. One thing, Andy, I wanted to ask is just about a lot of competitors seem to need extra sources of motivation, extra things to push them. You always seem to very much focus on the moment and process. And is that true? And if so, where does that ability come from for that to motivate you?
Yeah, well, listen, I think all the guys want to do well. I take that for, maybe for granted. The guys don't want to be embarrassed out there. So as coaches, it's our responsibility to teach them, to put them in the best positions for them to be successful. And this is their living that they're working at. And so, you hope they can hang on for a while and take advantage of that part. And then Brett Veach does a great job of bringing guys in that kind of have that attitude, that want-to attitude, and I think that's very important. It's an important part of the process, and we're fortunate to have a bunch of guys that kind of feel that way, and they, at the same time, they feed off of each other, which is also important.
And am I right, Andy, that the journey and the process, those parts of this fulfill you as much as anything else about the job?
Yeah, I mean, I like to teach, and I think if you're going to be a coach, you got to be a teacher first. And there's a lot that goes into that. It's not just knowing your stuff, but how it's presented and the trust that you have in the guys, and then the work that goes into each play. I mean, the detail and work and that these coaches put in, I think is important. But when we see success, we enjoy that. I enjoy that. I enjoy seeing the guys go out and do something good. I'm happy for them because I know the time and the effort that went into it. And there's an aptitude part of that, It's kind of like that dog right there, well trained.
Let's go next to Nate. Go ahead, Nate.
Hello, Andy. Considering the performance that Xavier Worthy had last night, what do you feel is the most he's improved at, in particular the second half of the season?
I was actually talking to his mom about that after the game. I mean, the kid every week has just gotten better and better and better. And he's really put together a nice half of the season. The second half here, not that he didn't have good plays in the first half, but you could see he was learning in the first half, and the quarterback was kind of learning where he was going to be and how he was going to get there, and then against all these different coverages that teams throw at you. So it looks like they're on the same page, and they'll have a big challenge this week or this next in 2 weeks with the Eagles. Their secondary, they've got a real good secondary there too.
Let's go next to Pete. Go ahead, Pete.
Coach, we've asked you about Pat in like 100 different ways, but here's another. His record and by extension you when trailing in the fourth quarter now is a game above 500, and next closest is sub 4. Just was wondering if you could put your finger on what makes him different in those spots that allows him to have success there.
Yeah, phenomenal player. Had a phenomenal night last night. There's no change in him as you go. He comes in competitive. He's going to finish competitive right down to the end. The pressure part of it, that when things can dilate you a little bit, when things are tight, don't do that to him. He kind of flourishes in those moments when they're the toughest, and he's wired that way. And I'm sure growing up in a locker room with his dad, was a big part of that, or at least a part of it. But some of it is just, innate. That's given to you, and he's one of those guys. The tighter the situation, the looser he plays.
Let's go next to Adam Teicher. Go ahead, Adam.
Hey, Andy, you were talking after the game last night about the parity in the league and how it's hard to win games, much less championships. Yet here you are, you guys have won 17 straight games that have been decided by one score. How do you explain that? How do you explain the ones who make these plays to win these games? And Sid, I'll have a second question as well.
Yeah, I think it's a little bit of what I was saying there, just with Pat, that I think the guys, they kind of thrive on that. I look at Chanel, and he goes out the Texans game. He goes, "I'm gonna block the field goal." He tells Tobe that. Tobe goes, "Let's go. We can get the." He goes, "No, it's done." That's kind of the attitude that these guys have, and it's not just him; it's all these guys. And so, when given an opportunity, they've stepped up in those situations. And as a coach, you love that part, and that's a rare thing. It's these games could have gone either way, and no different than last night. And guys, they take so much pride in stepping up, and they don't shrink in those situations.
Okay, and also Saquon Barkley is obviously the obvious answer here, but in what other ways are the Eagles different than when you saw them in the Super Bowl 2 years ago?
Yeah, well, those receivers are been in the offense now for a while, and they've got good tight ends, they've got good receivers. Real good receivers, and they've got a running back that arguably is one of the best in the history of the game. So it's and their offensive line, for all those guys to work, their offensive line has to be good too. So and then their quarterback is dialing it up right now. So whatever injuries he had early in the season, he's playing like crazy right now. So it's that's a heck of an offense. Another huge challenge for us.
Okay, we'll go through the last few hands up. Go ahead, Matt.
Hey, I got two quick questions, if you don't mind, Sydney. But, Coach, you talked a lot about trust last night, and it was a common theme amongst the offense. But also the trust that you have in Steve Spagnuolo and the trust that Steve has in his guys to make plays like that 4th and 5. How does that build? How does that develop? And how important is that in moments like last night?
Yeah, listen, David, Donald, Joe, I mean, all these coaches, Brendan, I mean, they're all in with Spags. They know the scheme like the back of their hand. Spags got confidence in them, and then the players have confidence in their coaches and Spags. And so that and they want to learn. They want to learn the system. That's a tough system, Matt. So you got to stay focused during the meetings. You got to detail it at practice. You got to detail the walkthroughs that you do, meetings on the field, and then most of all, you got to execute it on game day. But there's that trust, that whole foundation that you built with the trust, and these guys, they've got that, and then likewise, I've got the confidence in Spags, and in certain situations, I just know he's gonna. I don't ever run over to him and go, "Hey, let's not do that or this." I've got enough confidence in him and been around him long enough to know he's gonna make the right call for the right time.
And Chris Jones joked last night that you would probably be watching Eagles film at 3 a.m. this morning. How quickly do you turn the page from last night and start focusing on what's next?
Yeah, he was off by a couple hours, but I've been watching it for a while here. So, yeah, I try to get back on it. Listen, it's about the game, right? It's about how you perform in the game, and the Eagles didn't get there because they're not a good team. The Eagles got there because they're the best team in the NFC. They're a great football team, and so as coaches, we got to dig in and get going and make sure that we can feed the players a good game plan for them. And most of that work, Matt, gets done this week. I know it's a 2-week period before the game, but once you get down to New Orleans, it's a bit chaotic. So you want to make sure you take care of business now.
Okay, let's go next to Todd. Go ahead, Todd.
Yeah, Coach, you get a lot of guys who've been through this stuff. What sort of energy do you get from the new guys who haven't been through this? The DeAndres and Hollywoods and all those guys. What sort of spark do they give you that maybe you don't get from everybody else because they haven't been through it before?
No, that's a great question, Todd. I love that part. I went around to all those guys, man. I was so happy for them. And just seeing Kareem standing there going, wow, this is unbelievable. Or DJ jumping up and down, who's been in this league a while and been through a few things. Or DeAndre, man, he had a smile on his face. It was a mile wide. So, all those things. P. Ryan goes and helps seal the game for us. New addition. And all that stuff is great. That's why you do this. That's why you do this as a coach. It's just to get to see those guys achieve like they've achieved here.
We'll go ahead to Matt.
Andy, congratulations. The offense putting up 32 points, the most you've had in a game this season. I'm wondering if that's a trend you've been seeing over the last few weeks, and as part of that, just getting bodies healthy and just, opening up the playbook a little more once you get to this stage in the season.
Yeah, sure. Well, it was good. It was a good day to get over 30. You knew that you were going to somewhere do that. And there was no better time than against that team because they've got an explosive offense. So, and yeah, you knew you were going to have to go for it for, whatever term you want to use, but there's certain situations where you gotta cut it loose a little bit. And I think we're at that point where guys are back healthy and they've been able to practice fast with Pat and then you cut it loose a little bit. Yes.
Okay, last two, we'll revisit to Vahe.
Andy, you mentioned particularly spending a moment with Kareem last night. I wonder if you could just describe what gave you faith that this would work out this way, and maybe your appreciation of his own circumstances after the way it ended here the first time.
Yeah, no, he called me. Hey, he just said he wanted to be there. I knew he had changed. I spent some time with him at Pat's wedding, and so he. He's got a good heart. Even when he went through his deal, he's got a good heart. So I had, confidence that he could jump in and help us. And I knew he wanted to redeem himself amongst the community and kind of get that part that people can change, and I'm changed is what he's saying. So I think that's been a positive.
Okay, close us out, Sarin.
Coach, I was wondering if you could give us a little clarity about the review on fourth down. It didn't seem like there was maybe a declaration of what they were calling initially, and then when the official made the call, he said the call stands. Yet there was that would seem to indicate that there was a challenge. Yet there was no timeout charged. What all was, did you have an explanation of, or were you aware of what all was happening and why they were reviewing without a challenge and what the initial call was, all of that stuff that was going on at that time?
Yeah, sure. They can do that on scores, first downs. They can do whatever they want to do with those. From New York, that's all part of it. And I think that's a positive thing. So if it's a close call, just to get it right, either way, I mean, that again, it literally was a game of inches. But for people to know, Sarin, we have two extra officials on the sideline with us that are also wearing the headset, so they keep us abreast of everything. Every call, they're dialed in with the officials on the field. And so we have an idea of they let you know what's going on at all times. And so to answer your question, yeah, I did know. I got it. There were a couple other things that went on in the game that they worked out. That one just happened to take the longest because it was so close,
Okay, that's all for you, Coach.
All right, so that was Andy Reid speaking after the win last night, and I guess we'll start with what he was discussing at the end, which was the controversial, I guess now, 4th and 1 play. Josh Allen, QB sneak to the left side. The Chiefs hold him up. The call on the field ends up being that he upheld or stands. Sorry, stands.
Call, yeah.
And if you're a Bills fan, you obviously think the spot was wrong. If you're a Chiefs fan, you're happy. If you hate the Chiefs, you think it was rigged. I mean, that's basically where we're at. I just think in the NFL, we have seen year after year on a short yardage play, if you cannot see the ball, whatever the call is on the field is usually what they're going to stick with. Like, this isn't some new concept. That's what I'm frustrated about. The reaction to it is that this isn't something new. If they would have ruled it a first down initially, it probably stands as a first down, but they didn't. And like it's as simple as that.
It's really difficult because it's an inch or two. Like, I understand. Like, if you're a Bills fan, you're like, it's 1 inch. Are you sure that ball didn't travel 1 more inch? No. I cannot today tell you with 100% certainty that Josh Allen did not cross whatever millimeter he needed to cross in order for that to be a first down. But when spotting the ball, they allowed the near official to do it. And if I would tell you, go to Mitchell Schwartz's Twitter account. Or I'm sorry, was it his? No, it was Mike Swanson, former VP of communication of the Royals. He had the opposite end directly on the line because he can get access to those things of what it would look like from the far sides. He can't tell. He can't tell where Josh Allen is. There's 78 defenders. He's guessing like they're all guessing. They chose a spot. It was short. They had, and when they measured him, he was short. Like, I don't know what to tell you other than that. And so, yeah, is it a close call that went the Chiefs' way? Sure. Were there missed calls for the Chiefs? Yeah. Were there missed calls for the Bills? Yeah. The Bills, I would always say the same thing. The Bills had the ball down 3. There was 11
3.5 minutes.
3.5 minutes to go and 3 timeouts down 3. No offense. That call didn't decide anything. They had their chance. They had their chance to still win that game, tie that game, keep playing football, and they didn't do it.
Yeah, it was a huge call. I mean, let's not act like it was a huge play and a huge call. But to your point,
the call was fair.
There wasn't 30 seconds left in the game. Yeah. There was still an opportunity. And
if there was, I don't care.
I also don't I don't think it was a bad call.
I don't either.
Yes, we can't definitively say if he was short or not, but every single game for the last 5 years, I would say, since they really started, having more than 5 years with replay. It's been going on for a decade now. If there's a ball carrier near the goal line or a first down marker and you cannot see the ball, they usually stick with the call on the field. I mean, that's pretty standard stuff at this point in time.
your point, Cody, they had a chance to go in the game, but also they're up by 1 point at this margin. Get a stop on defense. Like you have multiple opportunities to get the stop and still hang on to the lead. Who's to say they also don't get the first down and throw a pick on the next play? That's why you can't. You can only take it with a grain of salt because so many other things happened after that play.
It was very, very close play too. I mean, like I know in the press box, everybody was kind of talking like, I mean, it could go either way, and the conspiracy will be like, oh, well, of course it went the Chiefs' way. Like
did they not measure it at all though? That was what was confusing to me is they never even measured.
It was short. It had to be at a certain yard line. It wasn't there.
It wasn't even. It was an even yard. It wasn't like it was flat out. Did he get to that point?
That was what it was.
And the initial call was he did not, and so they did not see anything that showed the football crossing that same. I think it was the 41 maybe or whatever. Yeah, crossing the 41-yard line, and the Chiefs on short yardage on the QB sneaks. They found something on tape, and they were able to shut it down for much of the game.
I hope they find something on tape.
They're going to need to against Jalen Hurts.
They're very good
I'll
at
say
that.
this, though. Like, it's not the first. Like, the Chiefs played Jalen Hurts
when they were doing that
with a better center.
Yeah.
Jason Kelce, of course, at the time. I mean, and it was effective, but like it's not the first time the Chiefs have played the tush push with the Eagles.
Romo pointed it out, though. Josh Allen went left every single time on the tush push.
That's film work.
Every single time.
On film work, tendencies. You got tendency breakers.
Sometimes, like with the Eagles, because they're going to come in, and we've said this before, these teams are always going to come in looking like the hottest team on the planet. They just won the NFC Championship game to go to the Super Bowl. They're not going to look like garbage going into the game. But also, like the Eagles looking like an unstoppable juggernaut on offense while scoring 7 touchdowns, I would be kind of quick to point out, and I'm sure we will over the next 2 weeks, Washington's defense is bad. Like, quite bad. And so this is not like an unexpected result, I guess, based on that.
It's not, and I do think the fact that Nick Sirianni's feeling himself right now is actually a good thing for the Chiefs heading in. Like he's feeling great. His offense just put up over 50 points, and so I'm assuming the arrogance will be at an all-time high for Nick Sirianni, which hopefully impacts his play calling. But as you said, we have plenty of time to talk about that. You don't want to really talk about the Eagles today. I want to talk more about Andy Reid, though. One thing that he did yesterday that he would not have done in Week 3, Week 10, I think it was pretty evident. We'll tell you what that is next.
This is Cody and Gold on your new home for Chiefs football. 96.5, The Fan. Brought to you by Heartland Men's Health, the leader in men's sexual health. Thousands of men have been successfully treated for low T, ED, and more, all with discretion and compassion. Make your appointment at heartlandmenshealth.com.
Attention car shoppers, Kevin Harlan here with Rob Seid of Rob Seid Ford in South Kansas City. Hey Rob, what's going on?
We are making 2025 the best year in Rob Seid Ford history, and we are doing it with 4 simple steps.
Simple is what I love most about Rob Seid Ford. So Rob, what's the plan?
It starts with Rob Seid Ford's non-commissioned sales staff, Kansas City's lowest prices on brand new Fords, the best trade-in values, the biggest selection we've ever had. With those 4 steps, it is my personal mission to make Rob Seid Ford the easiest, most value-driven Ford dealership in Kansas City. No BS.
That's why Rob Seid Ford is the only dealership I'll send my friends and family to. But you're forgetting one thing.
What's that?
Rob Seid Ford is Kansas City's top-rated Google Ford dealership.
Good call. Can't forget about that. Check out Rob Seid Ford in South Kansas City at 135th and State Line, ROBSIGHT.com.
Your skin tells a story. At KMC Dermatology and Med Spa, we understand that stress, time, and life can leave their mark, but it's never too late to refresh, renew, and restore your skin. With 25 expert providers across multiple locations, we make glowing skin easy. Same week appointments? Absolutely. Select Saturday appointments available? You got it. From medical dermatology to advanced aesthetic treatments, we're here to help you look and feel your best. Schedule your appointment today at kmcpa.com. KMC Dermatology and Med Spa, beyond the surface.
Taxes was not knowing your full financial picture. Now Taxes is getting and maximizing your refund all in one place. Credit Karma, where a TurboTax expert can do your taxes for you. They'll get you the most money back, guaranteed. Then you can do more with all that money, all in Credit Karma. Now this is Taxes. Intuit Credit Karma with TurboTax. Get started today. See guarantee details at turbotax.com/guarantees. Experts only available with TurboTax Live.
Make Gates Barbecue your go-to for the big game watch party. Whether you're the host or a guest, the big game watch party won't be complete without Gates Barbecue sauce and seasonings. Gates seasonings go great on popcorn as a fun topping for dips or sprinkle on chips for that extra flavor pop. Nothing says the big game like a Gates party tray. Stop by any of their 5 locations and pick one up. You'll be the hit of the party. Spice up your big game watch party with Gates Barbecue. We still do it the old-fashioned way.
Hey, it's Rex here with RexBuysKC.com, your local KC home buyer. If you own a property in the Kansas City or surrounding area and want to sell it fast and at a fair price, write this number down, 816-330-6000. I'm a private real estate investor, not some hedge fund or large national chain. My family and I live right here in KC. I can pay cash and close on your timeline, even in as little as 3 days. Here at RexBuysKC.com, we are improving Kansas City one house at a time. I buy inherited houses, vacant houses, foreclosure houses, behind in payment houses, my tenant won't pay the rent houses, and properties that need complete rehabs. Do you own a house that's trashed and needs thousands of dollars in repairs? Great. If you own a house and want to sell it fast, call me at this number, 816-330-6000. That's 816-330-6000, or go to RexBuysKC.com. That's RexBuysKC.com, and I look forward to working with you.
Prescriptions require an online consultation with a healthcare provider who will determine if appropriate. Restrictions apply. See website for details and important safety information. Price varies based on product and subscription plan.
Hey guys, let's talk ED because millions of men experience it. Did you know that 1 in 4 people seeking treatment for ED are under 40? So you're not alone, and even better, Hims can help. Find the ED treatment that fits your needs at up to 95% less than the brand names when you get started at hims.com/joy. It all starts with an online intake form. From there, a medical provider licensed in your state will determine if ED treatment is right for you. Through hims.com, you can access a full range of treatment options for ED, including daily or as-needed meds through a 100% online process. If prescribed, your medication is shipped to you for free. Millions of men experience ED, but Hims can help. To start your free online visit and save up to 95%, go to hims.com/joy. That's hims.com/joy for your free online visit. hims.com/joy.
This is the story of the one who, as a maintenance specialist for a historic high-rise, knows that vintage charm historically needs constant attention. Which is why when it's time to upgrade turn-of-the-century mechanicals, they turn to Grainger. With easy access to 1 million+ products and the scale to deliver when and where you need them. The right tools and supplies are never far away. So the one can keep that vintage building running like new. Call, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Whether you're ordering wings for the game, whipping up a 7-layer dip, or ordering pizza, there's something about football that makes you want to eat. And this football season, Uber Eats has the best deals on game day food. No matter what you're craving, from 2-for-1 pizza to buy one, get one wings, Uber Eats will be dropping new deals each week, all season long. Uber Eats, official on-demand delivery partner of the NFL. Order now. Terms and conditions apply. See app for details.
Still getting around to that fix on your car? You got this. On eBay, you'll find millions of parts guaranteed to fit. Doesn't matter if it's a major engine repair or your first time swapping your windshield wipers. eBay has that part you need, ready to click perfectly into place for changes big and small. Loud or quiet, find all the parts you need at prices you'll love. Guaranteed to fit every time. But you already know that. eBay. Things, people, love. Eligible items only. Exclusions apply.
It's the new year. Time to make a positive change in your life.
I went to My Computer Career because I needed job security.
Because I wanted a career in cybersecurity.
I went to My Computer Career because IT jobs are everywhere.
My old job was going nowhere.
I went because I didn't want college loans for the rest of my life.
Because I wanted a career for the rest of my life.
Go to mycomputercareer.edu and take the free career evaluation today. Financial aid available for qualified students, including the GI Bill. 529 college savings plans accepted. Not available in Washington State.
Chiefs coverage is brought to you by Shamrock Roofing and Construction. ShamrockRoofer.com.
Hey folks, it's Karen from Shamrock Roofing and Construction. Thank you for making Shamrock Roofing one of the top 30 roofing companies in the nation. We're family owned and ready to help you with your roof today. Inspect, repair, replace. One call does it all at Shamrock Roofing. Visit ShamrockRoofer.com.
You're listening to 96.5 The Fan from the Mission Plumbing, Heating, and Cooling Studios.
Never satisfied, baby.
When you play in front of Arrowhead Stadium like this, every single AFC championship, you kidding me? Kansas City! Hey, before you guys get out of here, just do a little dance, make a little love. Yeah, get down tonight.
Travis Kelce delivering on the podium once again, delivering Chiefs fans another trip to a Super Bowl as well. It's Cody and Gold, Alex Gold, Cody Tapp, Drew Nixon with you on your home for the Chiefs, 96.5 The Fan. Third straight year going to a Super Bowl. The Chiefs headed to New Orleans. Of course, the game will be right here on 96.5 The Fan. Fesco and Dusty will be in New Orleans beginning next Monday. It'll be their Sunday night, but first show will be on Monday. They'll be broadcasting live, so we've got plenty of Radio Row coverage at the station coming your way. Andy Reid spoke. You guys just heard him last segment, and one thing he was asked about is, like, he said, do you open things up more? It was evident early in that game when on his own side of the field, he goes for a 4th and 1, I think it was, to be exact. They're punting in the regular season. They're just punting in the regular season. And that is where, when we have these questions in the regular season about aggressiveness and all that, want to be more aggressive. And they got the 4th best, I think, conversion percentage on 4th downs in the NFL this year, but they don't go for it all that often. They're like 20-something in the league. In the playoffs, to Andy's credit, you don't have as much success as he does without changing with the times and adapting. And in the playoffs, he's willing to turn it up a notch. And that play, a 4th and 1, was a beautifully designed, not a QB sneak, QB run. And it was there all day.
That always does make me laugh. Because
I know.
Andy, after he stopped doing the QB sneak, used to run these speed options with Mahomes. And I'm like, this is absurd. That is a significantly more dangerous play to him than a QB sneak.
But in his mind, there's not a bunch of guys landing on his knee or something that can cause it to
I know, I'm just telling you statistically.
I know. We just know he's not doing a QB sneak.
Now, despite that.
But they were aggressive on 4th downs, and that's we were wondering, would he do again in the postseason? And this is a couple years in a row now where he's willing to be far more aggressive come playoff time, and thank goodness he is. Because the momentum in that moment, Cody, that was right after the Bills had just scored. Like, the momentum was all of a sudden turning in the Bills' way.
Yeah, it was. It was. That designed run, don't get me wrong, just because I want QB sneaks doesn't mean I don't want him running other times. Genius play call. That
saved
looked
it for the playoffs.
That looked like they just stole that run, snatched it out of the Bills playbook and just said, what if we ran it? How does it feel now? Because our guy can also run. Travis Kelce was a great lead blocker on that play. And that kind of goes into that whole notion of the thing. Yeah, he saves. Again, I don't think that Andy is not trying to win in those moments. I just think Andy, he doesn't save things. I think he learns things about his team. I think all the regular season is about trying things to see what works. And then once they know what works, they're like, got it. Because the clear out play on the Samaje P. Ryan play, he runs those a lot. He loves those clear plays. It's like, everybody run to this side, and I'll just throw it to Samaje over here all by himself. He ran it 2 times in the final 6 plays to seal the game. It's a great play. It's a great play call. But that's also the difference. The difference between Andy Reid and Sean McDermott is McDermott did 5 things to hurt his team last night. Do you remember a single moment where you thought Andy Reid cost his team? The only time you thought it might even happen is when he called a timeout and you're like, what if they punt? And they didn't. They went for it.
That was the one they went for, right?
And he called the timeout specifically to get the right play call. Genius.
Yeah, they're more dialed in come this time of the year. They just are, player and coaching staff. He mentioned the 3rd and 9 to P. Ryan that sealed the game. He said they were basically hoping the Bills would be in the right coverage for that play, and he did credit Matt Nagy a lot in that answer about how much time he spends going through that stuff. That's all film study and film work, and knowing that the Bills' tendencies in that spot, they're going to be in certain coverage, and we know this is a play design that's, if they're in this coverage, we know it's going to work. Right? Hey, if they're in a different coverage, then they got us. But if they're in this coverage, P. Ryan's going to be open every single time. That's basically what they're banking on. And boy, oh boy, was he ever open. And P. Ryan, and the most important play of the season, ends up converting a 1st down and seals the game. I mean, that's the beautiful thing about the experience on the coaching staff, the familiarity with everybody, the trust in everybody, that kind of stuff at times gets thrown around like it's cliches and stuff, but when you see a team go on a run that this team and organization has gone on, it does matter. That doesn't happen with a 1st, 2nd, 3rd year head coach that had an OC leave after year 2 because he had success with a young quarterback and then he went to another team. It doesn't happen with your defensive coordinator getting another job in the nope. or anything like that. No, it doesn't happen with all kinds of things not being the same. And Pirine, I understand, wasn't there last year with this team. It was McKinnon, a year ago. That was the guy that made it.
It was just a different pass-catching back who
Yep.
did the job. He doesn't care about... He just cares about the thing you're good at. No one in this league is better at expressing and using you in the thing in which you are the best at. He doesn't ask Pirine to be something he's not. He doesn't hand him the ball up the middle, Gold, asking him to get a 3rd and 1 on a run play. He clears him out, flips him the ball, and serves him up on a platter so that the only way you're going to win this is if you are successful. Again, what really stood out last night, and this is because I thought Andy Reid had a nearly perfect day as a head coach. And look, mistakes happen. The only play call I didn't like in the whole game was when they once again tried to run with Xavier Worthy inside the 10. I'm like, stop that. He's determined to make that one work. And look, for all I know, that is a setup play that makes a million other things work, and I just don't understand that part. But like that one I'm tired of. But McDermott, I thought the challenge on Worthy, idiotic. I didn't like their play calls on the 2-point conversions. I didn't think they should have gone for either 2-point conversion.
One in the first half, especially.
They stopped running the ball at the end of the game. They just no part of at no point he seemed over his head. Because at times Josh Allen felt that way too. The first drive of the game and the last drive of the game, Josh Allen seemed like he had the yips or something. That first drive, he was just trying to give it to the Chiefs. He settled in, had a lot of great plays. But McDermott felt like he was over his head, like he was chasing before you have to chase. You and I talked about go for 4th when it makes sense. He seemed like he was just going for stuff to go for it, challenging it to just challenge it. Didn't have a plan. He was just throwing things, hoping it would work.
I think the Chiefs force teams into getting out of character.
Decisions. Yeah.
I think they force teams to get out of character, knowing that you feel like you have to play perfect. And if you go in thinking you have to play perfect, and I think that's where you get antsy. That's where Josh Allen, I think, looked nervous, as you said, especially out of the gate. But there were times throughout the game I never felt like Josh Allen was comfortable. You feel like you have to be perfect. The pressure, what's at stake. You can say narratives don't matter, but we all know what's been out there around Josh Allen. And now that he's 0-4 against Mahomes in the playoffs, it's the first time since 1950. He's only the first time since Aaron Rodgers, the second quarterback since 1950 to go 0-4 or worse against a team, against a quarterback in the postseason. That's something that's going to stick with him forever. I think when you know that that's out there, you can say you block out the noise, but he knew he was winless against Patrick Mahomes, and I think you start pressing. I think as a coaching staff, when this is a team, a franchise that has prevented you from getting to the promised land, you overthink it. You try different things. We know the Ravens last year in the AFC title game, a team that could run the ball really well, didn't run the ball in the AFC title game a year ago. The Chiefs have a way of making other coaching staffs and players press. We can use, if you want to use that as the word, I don't know. That happens a lot, a lot, and thank goodness it did. Some of those decisions. I think that the first half 2-point conversion was really, really bad. The challenge, 20 yards if you get it, better.
First down,
it's still a first down. If the challenge works, the Chiefs would have still had a first down and would have had 20 yards back. But was that worth the payoff of losing a timeout? You still end up giving up 7 and all that. I don't know. I think that was a mistake in the way they went about their business.
I don't remember if it was Josh Allen when we talked about this before, but I think we had a conversation in the middle of the season about the top 4 quarterback conversation and all this other stuff. But Josh Allen not having that.
He's still number 2, by the way.
Josh Allen not having that cutthroat, I'm going to go in, I'm going to ruin your day, sort of vibe about him. And I don't know if it goes back to the little brother stuff that we talked about before, but I think Colin Cowherd had a really good thing on after the game. He compared Mahomes to Tiger Woods and compared him to Michael Jordan, where you're going to face elite talent all the time, but there's one person who always elevates, who always finds that extra gear, that fifth gear when everybody else is in fourth, just to elevate themselves a little bit more, and that's Patrick Mahomes, where he's going to elevate himself to be that guy, to make that play, to hit that shot, to get that steal, whatever the case is, whatever sport analogy you want to use. Where Josh Allen is fine, he's a great player, but he's not anything more than that. Patrick Mahomes is more than that in those moments in particular.
Yeah, you can be because I thought the drive before half, when it was 29-22 and he went down and drove and got his team a touchdown, it's not like he showed no moments of having some ability, some pass, some guts. But what we're talking about with Patrick Mahomes, and this is where it's always hard to separate for any sport, is that we're not talking about any other great player in your league at the same time. We're talking Tiger Woods, talking Michael Jordan, We're talking Tom Brady. We are talking extreme examples. They are separate.
Yes.
Yeah. I don't care, Novak Djokovic, whoever your guy is. We are talking extreme examples of dominance. That's why your guy's so separate. That's why Alex and I laugh, right? If you ever, in the next 10 years, probably, put out some list that either implies some other quarterback is better than Patrick Mahomes or another quarterback exists on the same tier as Mahomes, I don't take you seriously as a person. He is on a separate tier. It is the food pyramid from elementary school, and he's that tiny little triangle all by himself at the top before you start getting to the rest of things. What was that, like refined sugars or something?
Yeah, I mean, that's Nick Wright's whole Mahomes Mountain thing or whatever that he does on his show every week or whatever. That's
okay, I'm just talking like a food peer. Like, I'm just saying, like, I don't care if you tear it out 1, 2, 3. I don't care if you put it in a bar graph. I don't care the shape of the thing. All I'm saying is he's an elite, you just got to put him in his own category.
I think, though, that part, what's crazy is like the Mahomes being way above everybody else. That to me was settled 2 years ago. 3 years ago, people were still discussing is it Mahomes or Allen or Burrow or Lamar? Like, that was case closed 2 years ago.
I thought so,
Like, now it's just, if you're still talking about that now, again, your Chiefs derangement syndrome, CDS. Like, that's all it is. Like, at some point, that is all it is. Your hate is showing, whether it's about Mahomes or Andy Reid or the Chiefs. That's it. Nobody says you don't need to root for them. People can root for whatever team they want. We all have teams we dislike. That's nothing new in sports. But when you can't actually use common sense, whether we're talking about quarterback play, whether we're talking about certain calls that we see time and time again go a certain way, like the 4th and 1 that are always going to be upheld for the most part, depending on what the original call was. And now we just like lose our minds. The ball tracking microchip stuff for yardage. We've been saying for years, everybody has, that the chain gang is archaic. That's not some like new take. And then yet it's being pushed out there today because of last night, because the Bills got burned by it. Sounds familiar, doesn't it? Like the overtime rule for a couple years ago when it burned the Chiefs in 2019 against the Patriots. The league didn't want to, they did a vote, they tabled it or whatever. And then when it happened to the Bills and Josh Allen, all of a sudden it got overturned. Even though the Bills weren't the team that proposed it, it happened after that. We've been saying get rid of the chains for years. Now you watch. They'll get rid of the chain gang because it happened to the Bills. That's fine. I got no problem with it. Just
a lot of rule changes.
A lot of rule changes for the team that we against a team that we claim is the one that has everything rigged for them. So it's kind of funny.
It's always just kind of it. Well, I guess it's because you're the biggest team in the league and you're in these standalone games, but pretending like these circumstances don't exist in every game is idiotic.
Well, somebody says Josh Allen is really close. He's got to have some help from other players around him.
He's not close, though. He's great, but he's not close, man.
In terms of quarterback to quarterback,
he's not. No. Nobody's close.
Because I think, and we always go back to it, whenever we have this conversation, in particular, with Josh Allen, and I feel like Lamar Jackson as well in a way, the defenses that Josh Allen and Lamar Jackson have been their help, where if you are that good of a quarterback, you're going to be able to elevate the guys around you regardless of who else you have. Again, that goes back to your point earlier in the show on what Patrick Mahomes did last year with the wide receiver crew. Last year's Chiefs wide receiver crew is not as good as the Bills wide receiver crew that they currently have established.
Sky Moore, McCole Hardman, MVS, and Kadarius Toney were key pieces during the playoff run last year. McCole Hardman had the overtime walk-off touchdown. So, like the idea of like Josh Allen, he needs more weapons. Again, the really, 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 really special ones, as in only Brady, Mahomes, and you guys gave other examples in other sports, Tiger and Michael Jordan. It didn't matter who their cast of characters were.
And the best comp to me, and I said last night, Josh Allen is James Harden or he's Russell Westbrook. Russell Westbrook is going to shatter every record for triple-doubles. He's amazing. He does everything to get stats. Josh Allen is that guy. But when it comes down to it and he has to face Steph Curry, as we saw plenty of times in the playoffs, guess who won the games every single time? Steph Curry. Mahomes is Steph Curry to who Josh Allen and Lamar Jackson are as James Harden. They're great players. They put up crazy numbers. They win MVPs. But they don't win the games that count because they always come up against the better player, the better team, the better coach, whatever you want to say, it's all of it with the Kansas City Chiefs.
That was the best game of Patrick Mahomes' season, too.
Travis
He
Kelce
needed 32 points, so he's like, okay, sure.
Travis Kelce said that in the locker room. That was before we saw some of the more like advanced numbers that were put out about the performance from Mahomes. Like Kelce just flat out was like, 15 plays best game of the year. And the numbers back it up. There were only 4 games this entire season where a quarterback, not him, a quarterback, out of all the quarterbacks in the league, produced a successful play at a higher rate. The highest dropback success rate of Mahomes' entire career, not just this year, his entire career.
And think about how good his career has been.
So it was just a sensational performance. All right, let's get to it, Drew. Random question of the day.
Random question.
For you, Gold. For you, Drew, on the text line, 913-586-7965. And then we got new viewers over on YouTube, Twitter, Twitch, Facebook. Like, subscribe.
There we go.
Let us know when we're over there as well. It's been great numbers over there today. We'd love to have you on the video stream as well. If you want to see our faces. Someone's trying to figure out where you got your hoodie earlier. Do you...
I've had it for a couple years. It's talking about the decibel world, the record 142.2. But I think it Rally House 2 years ago, maybe.
Okay. Yeah. Well, we'll see where it is. The question I have today is, of course, related to the future Super Bowl site. That is New Orleans, where the Kansas City Chiefs are once again headed. So for you, 913-586-7965. Real simple. What is your favorite New Orleans-based food? I will also accept things like if your answer is just like oysters or something. They're not New Orleans-based, but they're famous in there.
The only time I ever had oysters was in New Orleans.
Oh, look at you.
Only time I had them.
I don't care if it's king cake or bananas Foster, jambalaya or gumbo, beignets, whatever. I just want to know very simply, what is your favorite New Orleans-based food?
We need to master our Cajun French phrases, too, before next week. Let the good times roll. Yeah, we might have to get Coach O on the show. We'll see if he's in retirement in Destin, Florida still or something.
Is he willing to just do that?
To answer your question, so this is more of a side. Red beans and rice is incredible.
Okay.
I would have said jambalaya, but a lot of jambalaya has shrimp in it now. 5 years ago would have been not a problem. I can't do shrimp anymore, but jambalaya. So I guess if I'm giving the realistic answer of something I would eat right now, beignets. There's no doubt.
I kind of thought beignet was going to be your answer anyway. My answer is etouffee. Which have you had that?
No, but I'm guessing it's like some delicacy. Sounds like it has duck or something. I don't know.
It has shrimp typically, or crawfish, depending on where you get it from. So crawfish, the opposite.
Say that again.
Etouffee.
Okay.
Etouffee?
Yeah, is it etouffee?
There's several. I think there's 3 accent marks in it. So if that makes it just absolutely ridiculous, that's just the name of it. It's because it's French. You know all the names down there.
Powdered beignets.
You can't call something like pretentious if it's like named French something because it's from New Orleans. It's like onion and green pepper and shrimp, and it's all just like rice and like it's like not soupy but kind of and rice, and it's got like all this stuff. Etouffee is my answer.
There's a lot. So when I was in Houston, a lot of
oh boy,
a lot of this, of course, borders. I don't have to tell you, borders Louisiana. There's a lot of influence there as well, and so there was a lot of this. Crawfish was a huge thing even in Houston. So a lot of people on the text line are saying crawfish is their answer as well. What about you, Drew? Anything come to mind?
If we're talking entrees, jambalaya hands down is really, really, really good. I don't think you can go wrong with beignets. Obviously it's a good
Cafe Du Monde right there.
Yep.
Cafe Du Monde.
Yep.
That line is going to be insane during the Super Bowl.
Over on Twitch, I see someone say gator tenders is on their list. So they had them fried. Would you eat gator? Someone put it in front of you?
If I was in New Orleans Super Bowl week, I would, yeah.
You would not notice any difference compared to other things, I would say. It's good. It doesn't taste very different from other things.
You got to be, for me to try food like that, I got to be in a good mood. Like the one time I had oysters, I was there in 2012. It was KU Final Four. Life was good, feeling good.
I do like a good po' boy.
Like if you just right now presented me gator tenders, absolutely no. Not.
You come on.
But if
for the show?
But if it was
But if we're in New Orleans,
and you're feeling the vibes, then I'm all about it at that point. Let's see, what else? Shrimp and grits, people are saying. According to, here's a website. These are a couple that are listed on this website. So you mentioned oysters already. Turtle soup. Have you ever had turtle soup?
Never had turtle soup.
A savory soup that includes turtle meat. It's considered a New Orleans or Cajun food.
I mean,
jambalaya, gumbo, banana foster,
bananas
beignet,
foster. Have you ever had that?
Cake.
Light it on fire,
the
whole thing.
The ones that you just rattled off.
You'd like bananas foster if you like banana. Do you like bananas?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
Yep.
You've never had that dessert?
Mm-mm.
It's like warm. It's kind of like sometimes they do it like au flambe or whatever, like on fire or whatever.
Just say on fire, man.
That's what they call it.
Just say on fire.
Nobody
You got
says
on
banana.
flambe or whatever the heck you just said.
I saw what you did
but
there.
nobody says
my.
on fire. Nobody says nobody describes it that way.
Gold wanted the.
I made a baked Alaska once in home ec
explanation.
class. That's as close to the fire on a dessert I made. A baked Alaska.
I had to
make
do
that.
Cherry's Jubilee tableside en flambe once. For
On
someone's
fire, yeah.
anniversary.
Mhm.
They don't say on fire, dude. Nobody says that. Even in your home ec class, they probably didn't put it that way.
It's on fire, all right? It's on fire.
I can just tell by Gold's facial expression, if you say en flambe one more time, he's going to lose it.
I actually think we should get, for one of the fan clubs, we should have something prepared that way now. Can we get somebody who, like, does anyone specialize in New Orleans cooking? They're willing to come in here and make something that way? They're going to need like a hot pad or like some sort of that oven in there. I don't even know if that thing works. You think it turns on?
Ooh, that thing probably hasn't been cleaned in a while.
kitchen?
That might start a grease fire. Who knows what's in that thing? You turn that oven on,
it was turned
it's
on?
probably a grease fire. There's no way. I think, you know what? We used it when we made our bet a couple years ago with our friend Mike Shope in Buffalo. We didn't do a bet this year, thankfully for him. They brought they shipped frozen, what was it? Was it pasta or something? There was some wings. It was just wings.
Wings.
And pizza.
Yeah, and pizza. And we used it then.
And we put it in the oven.
Dude, that was like 6 AFC championships ago,
It
wasn't
was
it? I
4
mean,
years
wasn't
ago.
that
It
just
was
like
4 years ago, yeah.
Okay. I mean, it's been a minute. That thing certainly hasn't been serviced in this amount of time.
I agree with Micah Gold. Gator bites taste like chicken. Like you would not be able to notice much
Yeah, they have
of
them
a
at the
difference.
Ozarks. You're right, Micah. Yeah, they have them at Shady Gators down at Lake of the Ozarks. I've never had them there. Again, in New Orleans, I would try them. I don't know if I'm trying them at the Ozarks. I'll wait till
I don't know if I would either. You got to be like on a coast.
We still got to make it happen. Drew's not been to the Lake of the Ozarks before. We still got this summer. We're going to try to do something this summer.
Lake Day, Cody Gold, that's happening. I don't care if we just go to my brother's place or if we go all the way up. We're doing it.
Real quick before we break, someone says, how did the fan or listener Cody and Gold parlay turn out for new shirts? It won. All 3 legs hit of the Cody and Gold parlay. So the show fund is on track to get some Cody and Gold t-shirts for listeners. We still need to figure out the logistics behind it, but yes. $400? $394 was the parlay, I believe, the hit on the parlay?
It was 100 to win $390.
Okay, so we won $290.
Yeah.
There we go. All right. Up next, we'll get to the 1 o'clock hour. Let's talk about Xavier Worthy. Andy Reid was discussing his performance and really how much better he has gotten throughout the season, and we'll have a little audio fun bag from yesterday.
This is Cody and Gold on your new home for Royals baseball. 96.5 The Fan. Brought to you by Heartland Men's Health, the leader in men's sexual health. Thousands of men have been successfully treated for low T, ED, and more, all with discretion and compassion. Make your appointment at heartlandmenshealth.com.
MD Anderson Cancer Center is again ranked #1 in the nation for cancer care by U.S. News & World Report's Best Hospitals rankings. Our physicians treat more types of cancers in a day than many see in their whole career. This unmatched depth of expertise, combined with our groundbreaking discoveries, gives our patients access to the most innovative treatment options. Learn more at mdanderson.org.
Real stories with Hellsberg.
After we met and we started dating, Nancy and I lived 150 miles apart, and I would drive my old jalopy car, and it was roughly a 3-hour distance. It took 3 years I drove across that state, back and forth, dating her every weekend.
Persistence.
And I would have never stopped. I had a lot of energy back then. 36 years ago.
At Hellsberg, find the engagement ring worthy of your story. Designed with the love, care, and craft it deserves. Visit a Hellsberg store or hellsberg.com.
Steve here for Connolly Plumbing Solutions, your neighborhood plumber. It's cold. I bet you are starting to notice your water heater is no longer keeping up as well as it used to. So, we are offering $200 off a tank-style water heater replacement, or if you want 1 hour-long shower or more, we can install a tankless water heater with $400 off. This month only, so call Connolly Plumbing Solutions at 913-768-7676 or visit ConnollyPlumbingSolutions.com to schedule.
Super Bowl 59. One game, two teams, endless possibilities. And there's no better way to make every play more exciting than with FanDuel Sportsbook. Whether you're predicting the first touchdown, who'll take home the MVP trophy, or the coin toss, FanDuel makes it easy to place your bets and feel the thrill of every moment. With live betting all game long, you can jump into the action, adjust your bets, and ride the wave of excitement from kickoff to the final whistle. Plus, to make the Super Bowl even sweeter, new customers can score $200 when you make your first bet. Just place a $5 bet, and if you win, you'll get $200 in bonus bets. Download the app or head to FanDuel.com/Alex and bet with FanDuel, official partner of Super Bowl 59 and 96.5 The Fan. 21 and present in Kansas. First online real money wager only. $5 first deposit required. Bonus issued as non-withdrawable bonus bets, which expire 7 days after receipt. Restrictions apply. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. FanDuel is offering online sports wagering in Kansas under an agreement with Kansas Star Casino, LLC. Gambling problem? Getting help is your best bet. Call 1-800-522-4700 or visit ksgamblinghelp.com.
Team, I'll be real with you. Time isn't on our side. The Super Bowl is only getting closer. So I'm asking you all, what's it gonna be? Are you gonna do the same old, or are you gonna step it up this year? Who's going to the Verizon Super Bowl Fan Fest right here in Kansas City? Are you going to join us for a Super Bowl experience like no other? Catch the game while hanging out with the league's most legendary players. Enjoy live music. Crush game day bites. The Super Bowl only comes once a year. Verizon Super Bowl Fan Fest. You in?
It's all going down at Kansas City Live in the Power and Light District. Tickets are limited. Don't miss out. Visit your local Verizon store and find out about free tickets today. Must be 18 years or older or accompanied by parent or legal guardian to attend. Terms apply. See VerizonFanFest.com for details.
Listen, you've been making house payments for years, right? And right now your home's value has never been higher, right? That means you're likely sitting on a small fortune in equity. And good for you. That's cash you could use to help secure your retirement, solve all your financial burdens, enable you to travel everything you want. The catch is, you're not ready to move. No problem. You don't have to with TrueHold. Sell and stay leaseback program. It's a genius financial strategy. You sell your home to TrueHold while its value is high. You bank all the equity in cash now, and you can stay as long as you like with an easy, affordable lease. And TrueHold pays property taxes, insurance, and maintenance. TrueHold unlocks your wealth without uprooting your life. Get a TrueHold offer now while your home's value is sky high. Call 1-855-300-9993 or visit TrueHold.com. The smarter, faster way to cash out without moving out. TrueHold.com.
In the dynamic world of programmatic ad buying, Viant is your ultimate CTV partner. Target with precision. Buy with confidence. Viant empowers you with AI-driven technology that reaches your audience where they engage most, ensuring your message hits home. And the campaign results? Transparent, thanks to Viant's advanced measurement suite. For media buyers who demand the best, Viant delivers. Viant, elevate your CTV campaign performance.
Well, good morning, kiddo. I love that you're home from college. I've missed you.
Still taking your nature-made vitamins?
Every day. A multivitamin and a probiotic. You better be taking yours.
Still looking out for me, Mom.
I'll never stop.
Made to care for you every day. Nature Made, the #1 pharmacist-recommended vitamin and supplement brand. Find us in the vitamin aisle, based on a survey of pharmacists who recommend branded vitamins and supplements.
Lowe's knows how to help make your Super Bowl 59 party a touchdown. Let us help you prep your home to host with top brands like Charbroil, Blackstone, and LG, so you can be the MVP of game day. Plus, use the Lowe's app to find what you need for a seamless shopping run. Or huddle up with our Lowe's Red Vest associates to help make all your game time hosting decisions.
Right now at Wendy's, get 2 of these fave items for just $7. The spicier classic chicken sandwich, Dave's single, or 10-piece nugs. It's an incredible deal, but an insanely difficult choice. Do you go double chicky sando, both spicy and classic, 1 beefy and 1 chicky? Or maybe you go all in on one and go Nug Max. Two faves for just $7? Gotta be Wendy's.
At participating Wendy's for a limited time only. Select a request 2 for $7 deal to redeem. Not valid in a combo or with saucy nugs. Single item at regular price. Prices may be higher in Alaska and Hawaii.
You're listening to the home of the back-to-back-to-back AFC champion, Kansas City Chiefs. 96.5 The Fan. KFMZ FM and AM HD1 and HD2. Kansas City, an Odyssey sports station.
Chiefs stay with an empty backfield. No motion. Three to the left side, wide side of the field. Mahomes looking left. Pass caught at the 5-yard line, angling near side. Leaping forward, Xavier Worthy. Touchdown! Kansas City burning the defender on the near side, Cole Bishop. And the Chiefs get an 11-yard touchdown pass, Mahomes, to the rookie Xavier Worthy.
Mitch Holthus on the call right here on your home for the Chiefs, 96.5. The Fan, Xavier Worthy, a career day, comes in the biggest game of his football career. He's got a game even bigger coming up in a couple weeks down in New Orleans. Chance to get a ring in his first year in the NFL. That's been the story. That's been the story for a couple of these draft classes. Just rings. Just rings.
I can't imagine what it's like to be a part of that Trent McDuffie draft class where you're just like, hey, I've been in the league 3 years. How has the season ended for you? Well, year 1, we won the Super Bowl. Year 2, we won the Super Bowl. Year 3, we're in the Super Bowl. I guess we'll just go ahead and see. Could you have a normal career after that? Let's just say they didn't re-sign one of them. You know, any of them. It doesn't matter. In that draft class, I think one we'll talk about tomorrow or the next day, they drafted 9 players and 8 of them still play for this team. I think it's all but Darian Kennard, who, funny enough,
not even in the league, right?
No, plays for the Eagles.
Is he on there? Does he play or is he on the roster?
He's like the second string offensive lineman for the Eagles.
Wow.
So he's technically on the roster for the opposing team. But it's even if you start looking through that, it's could you have a normal career to that? You walked in the league and you went Super Bowl, Super Bowl, Super Bowl, and you're like, hey, look, it's been nice seeing you, but we're going to go a different direction now. Please enjoy the Jets. Ugh.
Thinking of the Jets, by the way, our NFL insider, Vinnie Pasquantino, joined us earlier today. You'll hear that conversation coming up around 1:30 or so. He was at Arrowhead yesterday, along with Bobby Witt Jr., watching the Chiefs win another AFC title. But the highlight we played was Xavier Worthy, and it was a career day for him. He has consistently improved week to week, really week 11 on. And he, other than Travis Kelce, is the most trusted weapon in this offense right now for Patrick Mahomes. And it's pretty cool to see the progression for him. Early in the season, maybe lack of trust, didn't know where he was going to be on the field with Mahomes, and they couldn't connect on deep passes. He's out of bounds. He had no field awareness, spatial awareness, if you will. And that's not the case anymore. Much like Rashee Rice a year ago, as the season went on, when they really needed him too because of injuries, he found a way to really pick up this offense quickly, and it looks like an incredible draft pick now in 2 years with wide receivers for Brett Veach. And my guess is in the Super Bowl, of course, given some more time, to be some other wrinkle as well. I mean, he had 6 catches, seven targets, 85 yards, and a touchdown, plus had the 2 runs as well for 16 yards. He's been sensational for this team.
Excluding the Denver game, this was his single greatest yardage output game of the season, by the way. So, again, back to the same conversation where you're like, hey, is someone a playoff performer? He's getting better, so I guess he's fine. I excluded the Denver game, but over his last 9 games, 50 catches, 522 yards, 5 touchdowns. He also has another about 100 or so rushing during that time. That'd be a 17-game pace of 94 catches, 986 yards, 10 touchdowns, and another 200 on the ground. So 1,100-ish total yards, 10 total touchdowns-ish, and 1,000 yards receiving of those 1,100 total yards. And so, he is a maybe star in the making. I told you in the offseason we're going to have a lot of fun imagining what an offense of Rashee Rice and Xavier Worthy looks like. But focusing on the now, this is incredibly important because Xavier Worthy, with his speed, being a problem for opposing defenses, solves part of their offensive line problems because they can throw it short with Hollywood and Xavier and not require their offensive line to hold up forever in order to be successful. His speed is starting to change the game from what they fundamentally get to do offensively, and it is what has made them so much better offensively in the playoffs than any other time in the regular season. Mahomes in the last month is playing better football with more consistent offense than at any other time this year. And I think it's because Xavier Worthy is now working inside of it.
No doubt. And then they have another guy that they have to really account for in Hollywood Brown. Even though the numbers weren't amazing or anything yesterday, he had a couple catches on the first drive, part of the script out of the gate.
having to worry about that speed. Let's not forget Hollywood Brown, before we knew what Worthy was and before Hollywood Brown got hurt in the Jacksonville preseason game, we thought Hollywood Brown was going to be a guy stretching the field throughout the season.
We did.
So he's still a big reason why this all works as well. Here's what Xavier Worthy had to say in postgame. He started talking about the contested catch too, because that's 2 times in the last month, I guess in the last 2 weeks, where he's had his best catches as a pro. And then he also mentioned, hey, Buffalo could have drafted me.
Hey, that contested catch, any more? Did you know when you went up there you were definitely going to get that?
No, I knew I was going up to get the ball. I wasn't thinking anything else.
What did the defender say anything to the ref? Did you think that he had it or anything like that?
I definitely had the ball. He didn't have it.
Because they challenged, right?
Yeah, they challenged it.
Yeah. And the Chiefs drafted up to get you. Does that mean anything to you too?
Man, like I said, man, I feel like it was a disrespect. They went and grabbed to me. They went and grabbed a receiver right after they traded their pick to me. So I took it as they didn't want me. So that's all. I just took it with a chip on my shoulder.
So you had extra motivation today,
100%.
what you said?
A career best for yardage tonight. That just be a perfect time for that?
Man, I feel like there's more in the tank, man. I feel like there's more in the tank.
Feels like he's got more in the tank. We'll see if that happens to be in New Orleans as well as they go up against Philadelphia Eagles. Remember, the Eagles revamped their entire secondary. Well, plenty of time to break down their team and everything over the next week and a half.
Yeah,
but
they look a lot different than 2 years ago.
No
So do the
doubt.
Chiefs, though. It's
Of
not
course.
like teams
Yeah.
change in 48.
Yeah, the one thing I'll get out in front of right away, though, is going to be the discussion about the Eagles' defensive line, which is great.
You want to nix this one now?
It's a great defensive line. Jalen Carter's a stud, and Carter on Caliendo, I get the concern. It's going to be a key matchup. But we all know 2 years ago, all the talk about the Eagles' defensive front, and what was it about the Chiefs? Oh, the Chiefs have no answer. Their offensive line is just going to get destroyed. And then they gave up 0 sacks, and they all wore 0 sack shirts to the Super Bowl parade. So I'm just
That
saying,
was delightful.
so I get it. It'll be like we'll discuss it as well. Like the Caliendo Jalen Carter thing will be a real discussion.
Scary.
But before anybody says like, oh, there's just no way they can handle that. 2 years ago, that was what everybody in Philadelphia was saying, and they didn't get a single sack on Patrick Mahomes.
There's an argument, not the most talented. I think that there's a key difference in that, and so I kind of want to make that clear before I say it. There's a real argument that this is the most balanced weapon group the Chiefs have ever had. Because they still have Travis Kelce, and let's just even say he's 90% of Travis Kelce, although last week would certainly indicate not. And I thought he played great this week. They just didn't need him in the receiving game. And you might look at like Patrick Mahomes' numbers and be like, oh, he only had like 240 yards. He barely had possessions. They moved the ball on every single drive this week and last week, and he had like a combined 400 yards passing. It doesn't matter. It's just about production. But because Xavier Worthy has jumped onto the scene, and then Travis Kelce is still here, and Hollywood, and like even like look at Juju Smith-Schuster, or what they can do in the passing game with Samaje Perine, or all these other guys. It's just deep. It's endlessly deep. Yeah, you kind of know who they're probably going to throw to, but you're not guaranteed in that. Like Xavier Worthy, and I'm fascinated to see how it goes as his career continues. He's going to step in the league and do it. I love that he holds it against Buffalo, because we talked about this last week. Buffalo did. In a universe in which we can see things from a 10,000-foot view, Buffalo did all this to themselves. They traded the Kansas City Chiefs the pick to get Patrick Mahomes. They traded the Chiefs the pick to get Xavier Worthy. And then the Chiefs stuck it to them a little bit. Like last night was another key example of where these two teams meet come draft time. Yeah. Come draft time, when you watch the old franchise version for the Bills, and they are depressed that the Chiefs jumped above them and then took Trent McDuffie. They then panic pick Kaiir Elam, who only got in the game because of the Christian Benford concussion last night, and he's so bad. Kaiir Elam. He's not a good player. And so, like, it's just all the draft stuff that culminates in, if you ever think, hey, is it the coach? Is it the quarterback? Does the GM play a factor in why the Chiefs continue to beat the Bills in the postseason? Yeah. Yeah, he's been around three draft situations that have all benefited Kansas City.
And Josh Allen's terrific, but for many years we would hear, oh, I'm sure the Bills, like, obviously they traded the pick that led to Patrick Mahomes, but I'm sure they're pretty happy with their guy. I'm sure they're pretty happy, but when we're talking about running into the greatest quarterback maybe of all time,
I think they'd switch.
I would say, no, they would switch in a heartbeat. So that's the problem is, yeah, you can say, oh, it's close enough. Well, not when that guy is the same age and they're going to run into each other every single year of their careers, and one guy is already 4-0 against you. Yeah, I would say actually it was a bad move. You can't even go with that. They're fine with who they ended up with. No, and I think Josh Allen's an unbelievable quarterback and seems like a really likable dude. But in this era, being one of a bunch of quarterbacks that are towards the top 5 of the league, and he definitely is. I think he's the second best quarterback in the league. Problem is, number one's that much better than everybody else, so it just doesn't matter. And if the Chiefs were to beat the Eagles in a couple weeks, it would mean that they're not just blocking the AFC quarterbacks. It would mean that they're, at this point, with 4 rings, they would be blocking the entire NFL. It would be truly the Michael Jordan, Charles Barkley. Hey, Charles Barkley, great career, never won one. Michael Jordan was a problem for him as well.
Yeah, and again, sometimes people find some way to get through. Peyton Manning got through Tom Brady a couple of times. But this is why you and I always argued. There is no such thing as due, especially in the NFL where your playoff games are a year apart. I'll make the argument that if a guy who's a 40 home run hitter has gone 12 games without hitting a home run, fine. He's due to run into a pitch and hit a homer. I would say people generally in the betting community say that that's probably a dangerous path to follow, but I get it, right? I'll listen to your argument. Yeah. He played Patrick Mahomes in the divisional round 12 months ago. He hadn't played him in an AFC championship game 4 years ago. And this all goes back to they have no contemporaries. We got to get into it, not with Drew, but anybody, Cincinnati fans or anybody who tries to be well, we're the only team to beat you in an AFC championship game. Yeah, I guess. But
Drew's very proud of that.
But since that occurred, since they beat the Chiefs in a single AFC championship game, the Chiefs have been to 3 additional Super Bowls, won 2, and might win a 3rd. That's so distant memory ago that in the amount of time it took the last team to beat them in an AFC championship game, they might win 3 Super Bowls since they last lost. He's 17-3 in the postseason.
I don't know if that's
17-3.
And earliest exit is still in overtime of an AFC title game.
I think it's really easy, in the conversation of just Josh Allen, Lamar Jackson, whatever. It's really easy to say, well, they're great quarterbacks and all those other things. But where do we, not necessarily that it becomes a problem that they haven't been able to get.
Oh, it's definitely a problem.
So because I think you can make the argument you think Josh Allen Gold is the second best quarterback in the league. Somebody can say Lamar Jackson is the second best quarterback in the league, but they haven't been able to do it. They haven't been able to show it enough where they
and the other guy that you're about to mention hasn't been in the playoffs in 2 years. That's a problem too.
I actually wasn't going to bring his name up, but I was going to keep talking about Josh Allen and Lamar Jackson and the fact that when they are the MVPs, they're winning MVPs, but when they need it most, they're not that's why I think Josh Allen, I say it doesn't have a dog. It doesn't have a dog in him. Where the MVP Josh Allen, the one that will rip your heart out of your body, the way that Mahomes does to everybody else. It seems like they just can't do it for whatever reason. They can't make the throw. They make a bad decision. And if they're as good as what they are, then they should be able to overcome the deficiencies that they have, if there are any, because they've had better defenses. They've had the offensive lines that have been there as well. Paper-wise,
for sure, but they're not. But they're running into the best, though, right, Drew?
Correct.
That's what it is. I mean, that's the same thing with. Nobody thinks that Peyton Manning wasn't great. How many years was Manning's record against Brady in the playoffs? Wasn't he 0-9 to start his career or something like that against Brady in the playoffs, and then finally won? It just happens, and there's no guarantee that Josh Allen's going to snap out of it. It was weird that people were trying to think that would happen this year when we all thought the Bills actually defensively were way worse, and it proved to be true. They gave up 32 points to the Chiefs, their highest total of the season the Chiefs put up.
I just wonder if there's ever going to be a conversation where, you have a better you have the best defense in the league, and you're not. How are you? You have the best offensive line. You have really solid weapons, and you still can't find a way. You're not.
It's a Mahomes problem, though.
I know, but are we sure that they're actually the second best quarterback in the league in terms of being able to make plays happen when they matter most, when they time in and time out?
Somebody has to be second best quarterback in the league, right?
I know, but I'm just saying in terms of the conversation, it doesn't seem like this is a diss as much for Josh Allen as it is Lamar Jackson. People get on Lamar Jackson.
Sure.
Where Josh Allen is as bad, if not worse. By the way, Manning is 3-5 against Brady in the playoffs, apparently.
Okay, thank you.
But he hasn't been able to do it, where I know Lamar Jackson has, and I know that Josh Allen's put up good numbers, but in just terms of being able to get it done, I don't know how you can be praised almost for being, he's great, but he's not great enough, where my guy, you're not beating him one time. Like, are you really that great if you can't beat him one time? Just once.
Yeah, like if your point is that Lamar, he should be getting as much criticism as Lamar, I would agree with you.
That's what it is.
Yeah, if that's what you're trying to get at, yes, Josh Allen should, the same not getting over the hump stuff Lamar gets, Josh Allen should get as well. I think some people would say Josh Allen has still performed better statistically in the playoffs than Lamar. I think that's fair too. But I guess, and I know you're not bringing up Joe Burrow, but I guess then what's the like? They're at least getting the playoffs. I agree with you. Burrow's the only one that has beaten Mahomes.
We got to get there and win divisions and all the other stuff.
If he starts getting back to the playoffs and has opportunities, then I think there's a conversation once again to be had. Like, is he better than Allen and Lamar? Sure. I don't think you can make that case today as it sits in January of 2025 when the other guys have at least been to AFC title games here recently and been consistently going to the playoffs. But it can switch just like that. Like next year, if it's Mahomes versus Burrow, and obviously the conversation will all be about like, hey, he's the one dude that's beat him. Well, sure, we can have that conversation then. Right now, I don't think because of yesterday Josh Allen falls anywhere in my QB hierarchy. All it does is the gap between Mahomes and literally everybody else has widened. And in Jalen Hurts' defense, he played great against the Commanders. If Jalen Hurts beats Patrick Mahomes, then we got to move him much further up the list as well.
For sure.
Let's get to a little audio fun bag, guys. A lot yesterday.
I mean, we're just going to play like highlights, right?
Yeah, I mean, highlights. I want to, what Clark Hunt had to say as well from the podium. Let's start with Clark Hunt.
Chiefs Kingdom, we're headed to New Orleans to make history.
Short and sweet, nice and simple. Think about him leading this organization. Obviously, once again gets the trophy that bears his dad's name. How
He's
cool.
got quite a
That's
bit of
still,
those
like,
now.
I know the first one was the coolest because
For
like,
your
wow.
dad, yeah.
But still, that's pretty ridiculous and awesome. I'm sure. I think he alluded to in post game in the press conference, like someone asked, like, what do you think your dad would think about this? And he was like, he almost said he was too humble to at some point he'd be like, you got 7 of these with my name on it or whatever. I'm paraphrasing.
It is kind of crazy, but to win a trophy with your dad's name on it in general is cool, but to do it this many times probably means special. But now they're about searching out Lombardis. I thought one of the more fun storylines after the game was Kareem Hunt. So let's hear first a Kareem Hunt touchdown, and then I'll tell you what Andy Reid had to say about Kareem earlier.
10, Hunt again, slips through, goes all the way for the touchdown.
I play that because Andy Reid was asked about it, and he said it was one call to Clark Hunt, who felt like Kareem Hunt was a changed man after speaking to him at Patrick Mahomes' wedding. And when you get into this thing, you're like, this is an example of what I talked about. I'm not a disbeliever in second chances. Yeah. Just that you show remorse for the things that you did, prove that you want to change your life as a result of those things. And Kareem is a perfect example of that. It brings me happiness to see that he's having success in Kansas City and happy to be where he is and happy and comfortable where his life is now after what was a horrible decision earlier in his life. He has now righted a lot of that for himself and gets a chance to play in the Super Bowl with the team who originally drafted him. Which, by the way, didn't normally happen for running backs unless you do it in the first couple of years anyway. At 29, you almost never at running back to be with the team that drafted you.
Yeah, that's pretty
wild.
Been
a weird path.
Pretty wild how that's turned out. Also, last week, Spec, our boss, was on with Fesco and Dusty. Oh. And he was discussing the Chiefs' chances in this game that took place yesterday.
The Chiefs are not going to win 14 straight Super Bowls for the next 14 straight years.
But they might win 3.
But
not with that attitude, they're not.
They could, right? So I guess it's more that I feel that maybe this is just the time, and it feels like Josh's time to win.
It's become an annual tradition.
Is he doing it on purpose, or does he actually believe it?
Last year, there were the tweets about the Chiefs having no chance. Now this. I'm just saying, maybe it does need to happen every year at this point. Wrong again, though. Wrong again.
He also
not
didn't send us to the
Chiefs.
Super Bowl. He hated against that, and he's not sending us to New Orleans. He's trying to cause fights with Chiefs Kingdom. I am actually really happy that the morning show gets a chance to go. But, you and I have been the 3 Super Bowls we've gone to, they've won. I think later in the week we need to do like a vice versa Freaky Friday situation where like we all hold on to some sort of totem and we pass on our Super Bowl winning powers to the morning show
to Bob and
as
Dusty.
they head down to New Orleans, Something like that.
Yeah, got to keep the undefeated streak going. That's for sure.
A really old movie reference, but in the same
People can picture whether you understood what you were talking about.
I mean, we've all seen Freaky Friday style movies where you accidentally body switch or whatever,
you're saying you want to morph into, I don't know, since you guys sit in the same chair, Bob's body, so you can be in the Super Bowl and Bob's here?
No, he's saying just to pass the juju over.
Just pass the, pass the good vibes.
I know. I'm the direct example. I was. Anyways.
Gotcha. One other piece of audio. John Gruden, who works over at Barstool, he was talking about how the game ended or whatever. And, one of the few, I guess we can call him a media member now, one of the few media members acknowledging, hey, the Bills, the way you play, you deserve to lose, the way things played out.
Hey, listen, I thought this was the year for the Bills. But when you can't make the 1 yard you need to make, you don't deserve to go to the Super Bowl. You can have all these stats. That's all I saw in the pregame warm-up. 65 touchdowns, this stat, that stat. You don't make the 1 yard you need in any critical situation, you're going to get knocked out of the playoffs, and you can't rely on some official to give you a spot on the road in a playoff game. You just can't count on the officials. With Josh Allen, this has to be a slam dunk, automatic first down, and you didn't execute. You did not execute. You got the best offensive line in the league from left tackle to right tackle, a 300-pound tackle playing tight end. James Cook hasn't been stopped all night, and Josh Allen has 600 yards rushing and 12 touchdowns. And you can't make this much. The execution, the pad level, the finish, the overall scheming, whatever it is, you lost the game because third and fourth down in that, and you got to live with it. And I don't know how you live with this one. This is tough.
Preach.
30 rushing touchdowns between Cook and Allen. They couldn't get a yard.
Gruden's fired up.
He nailed it.
Don't leave it up to the ref.
He nailed it. Like that part, you're all bitching about 4th and 1, and was it a good spot, bad spot, review, rigged, etc. They didn't execute on some of the most important plays of the game, and ultimately the most important play of the game, and you lost. But nobody wants to take responsibility for it. Let me be fair. The Bills themselves are not complaining about it. I did not see one single clip.
Handled it
credit
like
to
a pro.
them. It's more of a fan thing, and then just the people that have the CDS derangement syndrome and that hate the Chiefs. The Bills organization, and I think even a lot of Bills media themselves aren't totally pinpointing it only on that. A lot of them are blaming Sean McDermott, and they're blaming their general manager and everything like that. It's more of just the national reaction to it.
Yeah, it is, and it's just the consistent amount of this. I would say the same thing. If you are so good at running the ball, again, 30 rushing touchdowns between Josh Allen and James Cook this year, maybe don't lead it up to a ref to decide whether or not you are a half an inch closer to a line than you were, 2 inches closer to a line than you were. They're human eyes from 30 yards apart. Leave no doubt. Get way over the line. It's not, I know that sounds silly, but if you leave it up to human beings to make decisions about millimeters from tens of yards away, I mean, I don't care if, I saw some company trying to offer free LASIK to the refs or whatever.
Yeah, that's smart on their part.
That was the LASIK. It was LASIK.com.
They've been doing that on every. They've been doing that on every post about officials. It's smart marketing for them.
They were wrong though on this one.
All right, that's a little audio fun bag from yesterday. Up next, we'll get to what's trending, plus our VNFL insider, Vinnie Pasquantino. He was at Arrowhead with Bobby Wood Jr. last night. What did he make of the game? And we'll also find out a little bit more about how fans interact with Vinnie at Arrowhead.
This is Cody and Gold on your new home for K-State Athletics. 96.5, The Fan. Brought to you by Heartland Men's Health, the leader in men's sexual health. Thousands of men have been successfully treated for low T, ED, and more, all with discretion and compassion. Make your appointment at heartlandmenshealth.com.
Your skin tells a story. At KMC Dermatology and Med Spa, we understand that stress, time, and life can leave their mark, but it's never too late to refresh, renew, and restore your skin. With 25 expert providers across multiple locations, we make glowing skin easy. Same week appointments? Absolutely. Select Saturday appointments available? You got it. From medical dermatology to advanced aesthetic treatments, we're here to help you look and feel your best. Schedule your appointment today at kmcpa.com. KMC Dermatology and Med Spa. Beyond the surface.
Make Gates Barbecue your go-to for the Big Game Watch Party. Whether you're the host or a guest, the Big Game Watch Party won't be complete without Gates Barbecue Sauce and Seasonings. Gates Seasonings go great on popcorn as a fun topping for dips or sprinkle on chips for that extra flavor pop. Nothing says the big game like a Gates Party Tray. Stop by any of their 5 locations and pick one up. You'll be the hit of the party. Spice up your Big Game Watch Party with Gates Barbecue. We still do it the old-fashioned way.
Casey's has 8 new coffee roasts that have been described as having rich aromatics that entice any palate.
But, we're not sure what that means, so we just call it darn good coffee. It's not crazy. It's Casey's. Get a free any-size coffee with Casey's Rewards. See Casey's Rewards for details.
You're listening to Kickoff with Boomer and Valenti. Locally here on 96.5 The Fan in Kansas City. Kickoff with Boomer Esiason and Mike Valenti is presented locally by ESPN Bet Sportsbook.
Team, I'll be real with you. Time isn't on our side. The Super Bowl is only getting closer. So I'm asking you all, what's it gonna be? Are you gonna do the same old, or are you gonna step it up this year? Who's going to the Verizon Super Bowl Fan Fest right here in Kansas City? Are you gonna join us for a Super Bowl experience like no other? Catch the game while hanging out with the league's most legendary players. Enjoy live music. Crush game day bites. The Super Bowl only comes once a year. Verizon Super Bowl Fan Fest. You in?
It's all going down at Kansas City Live in the Power and Light District. Tickets are limited. Don't miss out. Visit your local Verizon store and find out about free tickets today. Must be 18 years or older or accompanied by parent or legal guardian to attend. Terms apply. See VerizonFanFest.com for details.
Taxes was not knowing your full financial picture. Now Taxes is getting and maximizing your refund all in one place. Credit Karma, where a TurboTax expert can do your taxes for you. They'll get you the most money back, guaranteed. Then you can do more with all that money, all in Credit Karma. Now this is Taxes. Intuit Credit Karma with TurboTax. Get started today. See guarantee details at TurboTax.com/guarantees. Experts only available with TurboTax Live.
It starts as a nuisance and you just put up with it, but then that awful joint pain impacts everything in your life. Walking, climbing stairs, even getting in and out of the car hurts. Hey, it's Bob Fesco. I'm talking about that always there joint pain in your knees, hips, shoulders, and back. But here's the good news. QC Kinetics. Groundbreaking treatments for arthritis pain. Long-term relief is now possible with no downtime. Tens of thousands of QC Kinetics patients would tell you, don't wait, make the call today. These new orthobiologic cellular therapies, including PRP treatments, can revitalize your joints without going under the knife. Look, joint pain doesn't get better with time, so before it's absolutely debilitating, see if you're a candidate for these life-changing regenerative treatments. Call QC Kinetics today for your free consultation. 816-412-6299. That's 816-412-6299. QC Kinetics off 435 in State Line and in Gladstone. 816-412-6299.
Hey, nice job, Pete. I like those clean lines. Fellas, do we have anyone that can get to Greenport today?
At Corey's Landscaping, the staffing plan is in the weeds.
Anthony, we need that leaf blower over here. 3 more new customer requests just came in. Who wants to work some overtime?
He needs to dig up quality landscapers and fast.
I need Indeed.
Indeed you do. When you sponsor a job on Indeed, it's easier for talented candidates to find it, which makes it easier for you to hire them. Visit Indeed.com/credit and get $75 towards your first sponsored job. Terms and conditions apply.
If you love designer brands and you love clearance, then you're going to love this. Macy's is having a huge designer clearance event right now with incredible new designer markdowns on cold weather styles from BCBG, Hugo Boss, Michael Kors, and more. How big are the markdowns? How about Coach boots for $200 or less? So if you're looking for the things you love all in one place, come in and shop the designer clearance event at Macy's today. Savings off already reduced prices. Exclusions apply.
At David's Bridal, love is in every stitch. From the initial sketch to the final details, each style is designed with exquisite craftsmanship. Every wedding gown, bridesmaid look, prom dress, and special occasion style in between features handcrafted details filled with love. Come see the magic in person. Book an appointment and sign up for Diamond Loyalty to save 15% on your first purchase. Earn points towards special rewards and more at davidsbridal.com.
You ever try fixing your car and realize you're missing that one part? Yeah, been there. That's why eBay's my go-to. They've got millions of parts, guaranteed to fit. I'm talking brake pads for when yours have seen one too many miles of stop and go. Oil filters, cause you don't mess around with your engine care. Even got this cold air intake on my watch list. I might just go for it. To keep the ride cool and your DIY streak hot. Find all the parts you need at prices you'll love. Guaranteed to fit every time. eBay. Things. People. Love. Eligible items only. Exclusions apply.
Milo's Rewards Week is coming, and it's kind of a big deal. Members, get ready for 7 days of up to 40% off store-wide on hundreds of items. Save on the top brands in bath, tools, paint, and more. Our biggest member deals are on January 30th through February 5th. So if you're not a loyalty member, now's the time to join for free. Lowe's knows home improvement. Loyalty program subject to terms and conditions. Details at lowes.com/terms. Subject to change.
Chiefs coverage is brought to you by Twin Peaks. Eats, drinks, scenic views.
Twin Peaks is the best in the game. Here, it's bigger game days and bolder fight nights. I mean, where else can you find a scratch kitchen that always comes in clutch every day from lunch to late night? Only at Twin Peaks, the #1 sports bar.
You're listening to 96.5 The Fan from the Mission Plumbing, Heating, and Cooling Studios. What's trending?
What's trending here on Cody and Gold, presented by Baker University, where graduates earn higher salaries, land jobs faster than any other university in Kansas. Apply today at bakeru.edu. Of course, number one is the Chiefs are headed back to another Super Bowl. 3rd in 3 years, 5th in 6 years, trying to complete the three-peat campaign. Of course, the game last night here on 96.5 The Fan. The Super Bowl will be right here on 96.5 The Fan as well.
Hell yeah.
Andy Reid spoke earlier today. No injuries to report. They also got some time anyway. But that truly is the thing. The other difference with the game last night, they're healthier than the Buffalo Bills. You know, we'll see where the Eagles are health-wise heading in.
They're healthier than just about anybody.
The Eagles, what was it? Is it Brandon Graham that was on IR? There's a chance he comes back now, but the health is a huge part of the success.
Landon Dickerson tweaked his knee, I think is what it was during
and
the
they've
game
got
too.
some time to get ready, but like the Chiefs are healthier than any playoff team could be heading into a Super Bowl, and that's another big reason why they had success last night. Christian Benford for Buffalo, I don't know, man, clearly should not have been coming back from a concussion.
That was scary.
It makes me wonder. Like, this isn't even this. I promise. This is not even conspiracy theory. I just think. Look at the timeline. So he had a concussion. He was in concussion protocol last week. Then
until Saturday,
on Friday, we had Mike Schopp on from Buffalo, and he said, yeah, he's missing practice. They listed him out for personal reasons. Then he clears concussion protocol Saturday. I'm just saying, you're telling me, because remember, if he would not have cleared concussion protocol on Friday, my understanding is he would not have been able to play. So just saying, and then seeing the reaction on a hit that wasn't even that bad.
No. Somebody mentioned for the first time.
Little sketch.
I just feel bad for him. It was scary.
Somebody mentioned for the first time that it looked like he had the seatbelt on. Like they put the seatbelt on.
Yeah, it was not good.
It
was not good. It makes me wonder why if he was rushed back.
Yeah, me too. That's what's trending here on Cody and Gold. I mean, that's the only. Unless do you want to talk about Houston versus Kansas on Saturday? It went poorly.
It did. Biggest.
I'm sure Carrington has brought that up.
Dude,
today,
they were up 6 points with like 13 seconds, is that what it was? Ooh. So they got their own.
Also, DeJuan Harris,
their own 13-second.
Make the free throws, DeJuan.
It was
he
their,
missed both of them.
It's pretty bad.
Biggest choke job Bill Self's had at home since he's been the head coach there. He compared.
We're not trying to bring it up.
No, we don't need to. Carrington might lead a show with it today. I don't know. I'm not sure.
Missouri's winning against Ole Miss.
Carrington could lead a show. You guys have to tune in at 2:05 to find out if he does or not. Earlier today, though, we had Vinnie Pasquantino, our VNFL insider, join us. He was at Arrowhead. He was hanging out with Bobby Wood Jr., watching the Chiefs win another AFC title. We started our conversation asking him just how Arrowhead was.
It was awesome. I'm driving on, I think I'm on 49 South right now. So I'm in KC, just taking it all in. Just left the stadiums like 30 minutes ago. Yeah, that game was sick last night. Now I'm 3-0 at Arrowhead.
That's true.
You're undefeated. So are you getting down to New Orleans so you can make it 4-0, you know? Or spring training going to cause a problem there, I guess, huh?
So I go to spring training the next day after the Super Bowl, but I'm pretty sure I got an invite to the Super Bowl last night. I'm gonna need to circle back on that one. Maybe.
Was it from Bobby Witt Jr.?
No. No. So we'll see what happens.
Look, if for some reason you don't need the ticket, Alex will take it, you know?
Are you guys going to go down there for Radio Row?
We are not this year. We've been spoiled. We've got to go 3 years in a row. The morning show's going this go around. It's their shot at it now.
Steven Spector, get the fellas to the Super Bowl. What are you doing?
How did last night compare? You said it. You've been to a couple Chiefs games. You've been to now, 2 AFC title games. It was a classic game. It was another one of those great back and forths between Josh Allen and Patrick Mahomes, but you were on the field before the game. You obviously were experiencing the elements later in the game too. So just what was that like for you compared to maybe a few years ago?
Yeah, it was pretty cool. I don't know. Just watching two good teams play football live is a pretty cool thing. I still always laugh because sometimes I like watching games on TV better because I know what's going on. Like,
yeah,
there were some plays that happened that I'm like, I have no clue what just happened. Like, was the Mac Hollins catch ridiculous?
Yes.
Great throw, too, though. Great throw.
So, like, I saw it from across the field and never saw a replay of it. And people kept talking about it. I'm like, yeah, that was a cool catch. But I didn't know that it was, like, ridiculous. Or I didn't know that Mahomes just didn't spike a ball. I thought he threw that ball. Like, I thought that was on purpose. And then I saw the replay this morning. It was like, oh, that's really funny. Like, that ball just slipped out of his hand.
He apologized for a poor spike on Twitter last night because he understood that looked kind of silly in the moment. I guess from an outsider's, right? You're a Jets fan. You're essentially seeking this, right? Quarterbacks who can play in AFC title games, coaches who can get you there, all the other things. But at some point, if you're the rest of the NFL, you must think that there's nothing you can do to stop Mahomes. Don't you assume that that's how everyone feels at this point?
I mean, like, as a competitor, no. Like, you would feel like you can, like, if you're the Bills, right? Or say that the game happened the exact same, but in reverse. You would be sitting there, like, if the Bills won the same exact way the Chiefs won. You'd be like, okay, there were some plays. Like, the first drive for the Bills, like, what in the world was that? But we're sitting there watching, and he's throwing those two passes. Like, those look horrible out of the hand. So, like, you look at it like that, and you're like, okay, there's some things we could have done to win, but why can we never do them against this team? So, yeah, I think it just, I don't know, the Chiefs know what they're doing. I do think it's, like, really funny, though, that you guys feel disrespected.
Well, I think, Vinny, it's more of the annoyance of claiming things are rigged or, like, you know, the refs are intentionally doing something to benefit the Chiefs. I think that's where the disrespect, like, instead of acknowledging the history that they've already made and on the verge of making again, or for the first time in NFL history, I think that's where Chiefs fans feel disrespected.
Yeah, I just think, too, like, from an outsider, is like, what I think people find annoying is, like, they won the Super Bowl last year, and immediately it was three-peat. Every team's like, shoot, man, I just like to win one.
Yeah, I mean, that's probably what it, I mean, ultimately, you're right. I think that's what it is. People are sick of them winning.
Yeah, I mean, that's what it comes down to, is, like, a more casual fan or a non-Kansas City fan wants to see, like, if you don't see your team, you'd rather see different teams do it. But there's also something that's really cool about watching history go down. I think too, AFC teams are just annoyed that they had to run through a gauntlet of New England forever, and then it just, like, did the Chiefs? No, the Titans beat the Patriots in Brady's last game, right?
Yes.
Correct.
Yeah. So, but immediately it was like, okay, that Brady goes to 14 AFC championships, and now Mahomes has been to 8 or 7, whatever it is.
7.
It's like, everybody else just wants to play too. Can't. Too good.
We all know that people are different to watch games with. Some people are, like, more enjoyable to watch games with. Some are a little harder. What does Bobby Witt Jr. do when he watches the game? Is he a loud cheer? Stoic? You seem like you're kind of a reservist maybe at a football game. What's the normal – what's the vibe around you and Bobby when you guys watch a football game together?
Well, the beautiful thing is, like, and not for him, but for me, is people just nonstop talk to him. So I can just kind of hide.
Yeah.
So he's just always talking. Like, there was autograph people at the game yesterday. We're walking in, and somebody is sitting there at the gate, like, with his card. And I'm like, what? I took a few pictures of him with some fans yesterday, which was cool. Like, fans, Royals fans that didn't know that I hit behind him in the order.
Wait, hold on. So, hold on. Someone's sitting there with a Bobby Witt Jr. baseball card for an autograph. Or then let's say someone's asking for a photo, and they're like, hey, you random person, will you take this photo, not knowing that you're also on the team?
Correct.
Oh, my. Oh, my.
That kid's going to feel so stupid.
But, like, I love that. I think that is so funny. And not funny, but, like, just think it's awesome. Because who cares, right? Like, I'm just taking a picture. But it is funny walking around with him because you just see, like, he just really can't really go all out in public that much.
Well, I mean, I'm sure it's pretty hard when you're you're the fourth best shortstop according to the Shredder.
Yeah, fourth
in Major League Baseball. You know,
fourth best. That's right. Yeah, it was cool though. Like the respect he has is cool. Like football broadcasters coming up to him on the field yesterday. That was cool to see. Like he's got respect of everybody, deservedly so. So, like I'm very thankful that he's in Kansas City, and I feel like Kansas City feels that way about him too, which I really appreciate.
No question about that. That's exactly right. As we're talking to Vinnie Pasquantino, our NFL insider, you met someone though that I think you're a fan of, right? Was it Jay Feely, right?
Yeah. So, I may have had a few drinks yesterday.
As you should.
Maybe. To the disapproval of Jack, but. Who won't stop DMing me on Instagram, by the way.
Really? Do you think he knows that you mentioned this now, or no?
I don't know.
Okay.
Maybe. But so Jay Feely is standing 3 feet in front of me, and I go, that's the best kicker in Jets history right there. And he kind of turns, and we all, introduce. So we start talking. I didn't introduce myself. I just shake his hand and go, I'm a Jets fan.
That's great. That's great.
And then 5 minutes later, I was like, oh, by the way, my name is Vinny.
I like you just always introduce yourself. You never try to be like, I'm also an athlete. I've done things, I promise.
There was a funny moment yesterday where we were sitting. There was a photographer talking to Bobby, and then I ended up sitting next to her at one point, and she's like, oh, so you're here with Bobby, like you're one of his friends from home?
But like you said, go ahead, sorry.
Well, then she was just like, oh, what do you do? I'm like, I play baseball too. She's like, oh, nice. Like,
are you good?
Who?
Oh, man.
I'm like, I actually I play for Kansas City as well. She's like, here in the major leagues? And she just kept asking me these what felt like degrading questions.
Just wouldn't just be like, wow, it's great to see you. Just kept getting further down in there. Like, are you good?
Like, wait, are you sure? I've never heard of your name.
Okay. You actually play, or you're just on the team?
I think what's funny about it, Vinny, your name stands out in a crowd, man. Vinnie Pasquantino is a difficult name to forget, in my opinion.
Most of the time that I get recognized is because they'll see, if I order food and go pick it up or something, it's the name. So, I would say 60% of the time I get recognized somewhere, it's because somebody sees my name before they see me.
Man,
there's a lot of athletes though probably would love to be in the spot you're in. As you said, Bobby maybe can't enjoy the moment as much as you can.
Oh, I'm in an absolute sick honey hole where I can't. I'm not saying I could get away with things, but I'm not the face of the franchise. I just drive in runs. You know what I'm saying? Drive in runs, play some good defense at first base, and win games.
We're talking to our NFL insider, Vinnie Pasquantino. We'll have a chance to talk to you before the Super Bowl as well, but just initial feeling on Eagles Chiefs again, and they were just this thing in Phoenix. I think actually when we had you on Radio Row, you and Michael Massey, that was the Super Bowl that the Chiefs played the Eagles and beat them.
Yeah, and also as of a few weeks ago, I have a text with a member of the Jets front office who asked me, that was a weird flex, but he said, who's going to be in the Super Bowl? And I said Eagles Chiefs. So I feel pretty good about that.
Wow, you're already talking to the new members of the Jets front office or old members?
It's it depends on what you consider front office. Not like football personnel, more like marketing.
Okay. That still counts. You can say front office.
I think,
it's fine.
Yeah, just stick with saying front office. It sounds way cooler.
Yeah, I agree. I agree.
Do you have any current NFL plans for how to stop Saquon Barkley?
Pray?
Yeah, feels right.
I don't know what you do. And with Jalen Hurts, too, what did those two combine for 6 touchdowns yesterday?
Yeah, 7 rushing touchdowns as a team.
That was Jalen Hurts' best game in months.
Yeah, I was at the parking lot at Arrowhead Stadium, so I didn't really get to see a whole lot of that game, but looked like a beatdown. Looked like the Commanders could not keep the ball.
Vinny, last question before we let you get out of here, and then we talk to you next week, our VNFL Insider. Someone's been asking for weeks. I asked you separately in a text, but they want the actual response. They want to know how often you hear that you get mistaken for Shane Gillis, the comedian.
All the time. I'm not saying once a day, but it's probably close to that. A lot. And I'll take it. He's funny. I think he's funny, so I'll take it.
Maybe you can get a cameo on his TV show.
Yeah, I've watched 2 episodes of it. You know, here's a hot take. Yeah, and by the way, I'm on a 3-hour drive, so I'm talking more than usual today probably. But TV shows kind of suck nowadays because they don't do, like, the 24 episodes. Oh. I miss episodic, whatever you call it, TV.
You like a lot of episodes, not like we did 10 one-hour episodes like Ted Lasso or whatever.
Yeah, and why does it take 6 years to make a season?
I don't know.
Wouldn't you think that, like, it would actually be quicker? I don't know. I don't act or edit or create stuff, so I don't know how that all works. But it feels like it takes forever for new shows to come out.
Can I make one suggestion to you? You should do what I'd say Patrick Mahomes' teammates are really good about doing, and you should try to get Bobby to put you in a commercial. I mean, look, it's all. I mean, Patrick's always getting his teammates in there. You should see if Bobby can get you in like a Community America ad.
I'm doing everything I can, as I should be, to ride his coattails. I'm just kidding about that. Yeah, that'd be. I'd do a commercial.
Okay.
I think I have some commercials out there for Jeremy Walker Automotive. I don't know if they're out there yet, but we filmed them a year ago.
Oh, where is that in Nashville?
No, Jeremy Walker Automotive, Kansas City. Shout out to them.
Okay.
It's in Overland Park, I think. I've been there a few times. Nice place, and Jeremy's awesome. So
there you go, Vinny. Appreciate it. Safe travels back home, man.
Okay, yep, sounds good. Thanks, guys.
There you go. Vinnie Pasquantino. He joined us earlier today, as he does each and every week. A day earlier because, well, he was at the game last night. So why not have him on a Monday instead of a Tuesday? And sounds like maybe, just maybe, he'll be in New Orleans. We'll have to follow back up with that next week.
I got to find out whether or not he's going to take this ticket.
I mean,
it says it's the day before he has to report.
He should take advantage of it. Look, you got to take an early morning flight out to Arizona, or maybe there's somebody else you can hop on a PJ with out to Scottsdale. Or
do you think he knows private jet people? I mean,
somebody
Bobby
else.
Wood Jr.
Somebody
else.
else.
Person if he wants
somebody
to be.
else, man. You know, again, it's not like you just have, you have an air share, you have a company, a corporate partner that allows you to be on their jet. It's not like you own the private jet. You just, like Mahomes, he just has an air share with a company.
Hey, with Vinny's connection to the Jets, to the front office,
The front office of the Jets,
You never know.
Yeah, exactly. I haven't even looked at Super Bowl ticket pricing. I mean, let me guess. Very expensive.
I don't know, $8,000.
I'm guessing the cheapest ticket's like $9,000. Yeah, let me see real quick. with fees. What's your guys' guess?
$8,000, $8,500.
With
fees?
With fees.
9,500 with fees.
Right now, just to get in. I'm not talking about good seats. 2 tickets just to get in.
$78.50.
Filter cheapest ticket. I'm on Tick Pick with fees.
I was talking per ticket. Oh, $5,000.
Per ticket. Yeah, it was per ticket. $5,650 per ticket.
Practically free.
Terrace, end zone, corner, row to be determined. What? To be determined?
They're just going to pop you down wherever they see
row
fit.
to be determined. Oh, here we go. $6,500 to get you section 649, the 600 level. Road 22. $6,500 a pop, guys. With fees, I can get us there. $14,127. It's very nice. They credit apply. They applied a $10 off credit. That's really nice. That's really good. Thank you.
Looks like for $11K, I could be sitting club. And I'll be honest, if I'm sitting at $6,500, I might as well be sitting club.
I'm gonna say if you're sitting
you just throw an extra $5,000. No big deal.
Well, if I'm dropping $6,500, I've got fake pretend money.
Hold on.
I'm a super rich person.
So this is where you're at now, where it's like, $6,500. Might as well spend $11,000 on the tickets.
Gold, we heard him earlier. He's using etouffee and all this other stuff.
Al flambe.
Yeah,
you got some bands, Cody.
I've been getting some al flambe sides down there, man. I'd be serving etouffee at my seat.
Just en flambe and some money is what you're doing at that point in time. My goodness. All right, we're back at it tomorrow. We'll continue talking about this football team that has this city on fire. No pun intended. I didn't mean to do that, honestly, I swear. When it comes to next week in New Orleans, so Nate Taylor, I'm assuming, is going to be joining us in studio. He was in the press box working late last night as well. We'll also talk more about where this dynasty stacks up, not just in the NFL, but in all the sports. We'll